Feeling realer, my stomach stay lean, but that booty be thicker. I'm cuffed with my hubby and snuffing your hitter. My pen is the clip and my finger the trigger. Megan the Stallion and Joey the Panther. I stand on the front lines, I'm holding the banners. I'm pressing the buttons and turning the channels to reset the system to challenge my grammar. Stage show mean, keep a crowd higher than the weed. Got Kendro heading up the team. Pro black, but I'm still about the cream.
What's going on, baby gorgeous gang? I have no clue how that works. I don't know if it's still going. That's supposed to be like 30 seconds. I have no clue what is happening with that. But welcome to the show. This is Justifiably Jordan. This is the channel where I give an empathic analysis of culture and entertainment, and then I justify why you should go watch, learn, and draw your own conclusions. I am your host, Jordan Renee, and I invite you to take the time, feel the vibe, and have a seat with me. Now, I have my girls Nakaya and Kiki here, and we were just chit-chatting before we came on live, it but it has nothing to do with the topic. But that's why they're up here, so we can, connect and say hey before we get back into the things of the things, right? Can y'all hear me okay? Is everybody good? Because everybody else is muted. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. You're
Yeah.
connect. This is my. Okay, it's connected to my. Okay, that's interesting. Let me turn this all the way up then. Okay, I'll just let it roll like that. Okay, that's fine. Hey. No, but what's going on, y'all? How are you doing? Hey, Kiki. Hey, Nakaya. What's going
Hey,
on? I'm getting my shit together. What's up?
nothing. Just hanging out, hanging out.
Not just
Nothing
hanging
much. Hey,
out, honey. I know what you're
Kristen.
really doing over there, but it's all right.
You better
Hold
go.
on. Hold on. No, we ain't gonna talk about you. Hold on. Let me get my head equipment together, honey. Let me get my head right.
But yeah, I
Okay, I
personally
think
don't
that.
have much going on today. I did get some news after I got off the line with you earlier, and that was interesting. But that's why when I got on Twitter and our group chat, I was like, oh, like I really needed this laugh, y'all, like because stuff was a little crazy. But I'm here. I'm happy. I'm ready to dive in. It's all about the good and positive vibes from here on out. So let's get into it.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
about to say who we need to go after because I
Not
got
it.
time tonight. I have nothing planned for this evening. Sis, I cleared my night.
Hey, hey.
The
Thank you.
schedule is cleared.
Listen, y'all are gonna get off me in this. Listen, y'all are gonna get off me in this hair. Hey, Kristen,
I
how are
love
you,
that
babe? Like
unit.
I just
I love
thank
that unit
you.
on you. Like
Ain't that cute?
I love
It's
that.
it's the, it's the curly wig. I just straightened it.
I like
I
her.
really just wanted to straighten it, and the night before I did it, I literally got home because I went and got my curlers from my in-laws' house or whatever.
Hmm.
And I got home and I plugged my straightener in and everything. And I was like, and I looked at it and I text my cousin because she was the one that I was like, I think I'm gonna straighten this wig. I think I'm gonna straighten it. And she was like, yeah, do it, bitch, do it. And so I get home and I'm about to straighten it. I think I'm really about to do it too. Like, I think I'm about to jazz this thing. And then I text her and I'm like, girl, I don't think I have the heart to do it, girl. And so I went to bed and I prayed on it. And then I woke up the next day and I did it. So here we are. But thank you, Kristen.
I'll be right back.
Listen. All right, babe. But listen, today this topic I wanted to dive into because I'm feeling a little sensitive today. Um I'm feeling good, but I'm feeling sensitive, and so I'm trying to reconcile the difference here because I'm in a space where, like I said in the live earlier, like I'm feeling like my most confident, I'm feeling my most sexy, like I'm feeling my body, I'm feeling good, like mama's wigs is laying right, like we're doing good things out here, like I'm
Okay.
feeling good. But however, I find myself like feeling like oh, Joanna, I'm sorry, girl. Hold on. Joanna jumped in and said, "Where's the mother calling?" My bad. Hold on. I got you. Don't even like
Heck no, I
you ain't
seen
even
that.
gotta wait. I could have sworn I could have sworn Joanna was in the damn group chat with us, or am I just
Uh,
tripping?
She
yes.
is. She check it. That's all.
Mhm. She just wanted to come in with that vibe.
Right. With your wide
She
body
just wanted to
ass.
come in with the shit, but it's all right. With your wide, you brought your wide body ass down to Angela Bassett's good internet to spread
Okay.
mess and confusion. Here she
Okay.
is with your hoe ass. What's up?
Hey, girl.
What's up, baby? Hey, girl, say what am I saw that shit
Just got
random
to
as hell.
just finished
Hey,
charging my
Kristen.
road.
Hey.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
What is up?
Kristen.
It has been a minute. How are you feeling?
Um, since I got so much, well, Jordan knows, y'all don't know, but I got really sick off of that because I got my COVID booster,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
and then I had an allergic reaction to the medication. So I have been. It's been a hard couple of weeks on top of family drama and other stuff. So everything that we all experience when it comes to the holidays,
Mhm.
got to deal with the
I go
life.
into
Life
seclusion for the
always has to
holidays.
make things a little more interesting than we're prepared for.
Honey,
Yeah.
I hibernate for the holidays. I ain't got time for that mess. But I appreciate you being here. It is so good to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Well,
tell you guys what, I honestly like if I could just cancel the holidays so that I wouldn't have stress, then it's tempting. But I got kids. And I also
listen,
happen to be a person who loves, like, I love Halloween, I love Christmas. I don't really care about Thanksgiving, but
right.
It's part of the deal.
Well, what is everybody's? Well, since I am someone who has to care about these things for the sake of my audience, what is everybody's holiday plans? What y'all eating? Who's cooking what? Who's making the potato salad? Clock your references, children.
You want to go in
looking
order?
forward this year.
What you say, Joanna?
Ah, I was about to say whoever's first. Joanna, jump in. Then
Mm-hmm.
Nakaya, Kiki, Kristen.
I ain't cooking shit this year. Yeah, I ain't even know it, and they know it. Usually I fix a little something, but yeah, this year, no, I ain't feeling it. I let them handle it. My mom has COVID right now, so I'm chilling. They'll be all right.
I'm with that.
Well,
How's your house going, Nakaya?
I ain't cooking none either. James is gonna make a little something here, but we going to Fort Wayne, our hometown, and I'm gonna sit and watch a game, y'all, something. 'Cause I was
Why is
gonna.
it that anybody?
Huh?
Why is it now when anybody says they're making a little something, for some reason the only thing that pops into my mind is charcuterie board. Like I just see cheese and crackers with a few little pieces of ham, salami,
A little bit of
a little
prosciutto.
something on a cutting board real
I mean,
quick.
I should bring that to my auntie's house for Thanksgiving. They're gonna be like, bitch.
right. Who would eat this?
You know what?
Hey,
I'll
At
tell
least
you
you
what.
didn't come in
If
empty
you want
handed.
to, I mean, I grew up really poor. So for me, like, I could never even imagine doing charcuterie boards. But my mom and would like cut up like blocks of cheese and like little smokies and cut grapes in half and then put it on like toothpicks. And that was that was like our poor person's charcuterie board.
Hey,
So
you did,
like
girl.
but as an adult, all these years later, I still think that tastes better than most of the charcuterie boards you buy like at these cheese shops and gourmet places. Like to me, it still tastes better, even though, you know, it was
somebody got to put me on because I have never even heard the word charcuterie board until I have watched The Real Housewives of Potomac. Honey, Candy put
Same
me
here.
on
I ain't even gonna
something.
lie.
you're
Same.
not missing
Because
anything.
I was like, girl, what the fuck is
It
the sausage?
is.
Girl, that looked
It's just the
like,
adult version of a Lunchable.
I
Is
was
it?
just about to say, that looked like a
Yeah.
spread out Lunchable.
It is. It's got like olives and stuff, and nobody
Yeah,
wants
add a
that.
little,
I said,
little
what the hell is
bouginess to
that?
it.
Literally,
Did
that's
I?
all
So
it
did I
is.
jump
Like,
the
I'm gonna
place in
get
line?
some cubes of Kraft, Kobe Jack, and extra sharp cheddar from Walmart,
Yeah.
some grapes, a little honey, and a couple of Ritz crackers. And that's what
I'm
y'all gonna
sweet
get.
off of that.
See,
We gotta
Well,
now
have
I might have
wings
to do
and
that too.
things like.
well, I will tell
Hey,
you. Okay,
Andrea.
so my Christmas is actually on Thanksgiving this year.
What?
So,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
because you
that's
know,
right.
because my husband is about to deploy.
Right. So
So
you're doing
like
it all at
we're
one
doing
time.
it before he leaves, and then my son, you know, my son moved to live with his dad for this school year and in Texas because the protections against COVID are so much stronger where his dad lives as opposed to where I live. So he flew in. So we're gonna tomorrow is Christmas Eve for me. So I'm gonna be having 2 Christmases this year.
I wish we could have just did it all at one because I
Sounds so
swear,
hectic.
no
It's
disrespect to
I
any
wish
Jehovah
we could
Witnesses
too.
listening.
but I don't ever make like first of all, I don't
That's
like
what I was
turkey.
gonna be.
I don't like
Except
turkey, so
my
I'm not
birthday.
doing that. I'm making a lasagna and that's that.
I loved that idea.
I'm not into turkey. Like in even on like Christmas, like when I have like a big Christmas, I don't even like the normal like foods that everybody else likes. Like I like eating the appetizers, like the quiche and the deviled eggs and like the barbecue meatballs. Like that stuff is way more appetizing to me than like rolls and mashed potatoes.
Baby
I'm
shower
that person
food.
that goes and gets Chinese food on Christmas.
I like that idea.
I'm that person. Hey, Andrea.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
How you
I'm
guys
good.
doing? Speaking of
Lauren
Chinese
I'm
grew
doing
up in
good.
Europe. I'm
yes,
jealous. I don't even have
that's
a passport. I've never been to Europe. I've never left the US.
really?
Yes, Lauren Hammond said that they grew up in Europe and charcuterie is common. I feel like I'm saying it different every time I say it.
It's charcuterie.
Okay, because I've
That's
been adding all types of syllables and silent letters
Hold
up
on.
in there.
Okay, I'm gonna
George.
like I didn't even know that until I was like 35 years old, and
I'm
it was
telling you, I
all
was
these like
last year years old
bougie
when I found out
freaking
about a
all.
charcuterie board.
I only knew because like these like bougie freaking. I was gonna say a bad word, but the bougie
Bitches.
oh,
bitches that like are all like, let's have wine night, ladies. You know, like
Mhm.
those are the ones who do like charcuterie and wine and stuff like that. And to me, it was like, this is stupid. Let's order a pizza and watch a movie. You know, like
I would have the most um not charcuterie board. I swear to God, like my charcuterie board would have like wings, but they would be all flats.
Yeah.
I would have like
yes.
salmon patties. I would
Mm.
have like mimosas. I would have like little like beanie sausages. You know the little weenie sausages. You know the
little
little things,
smokies.
but they would be on yes, and they would be on Q-tips and stuff. I would have the
Yes.
little meatballs that the black people have at all the cookouts and the family reunions, the good ones.
Exactly. Like a charcuterie board with shit that people actually
On
Want
steroids.
to
Stuff
eat.
that people actually eat.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a funny for you. So, I don't know if any of you guys follow Natalie Lawyer Chick on YouTube,
I've heard of
but
her, but I don't think I follow her.
she's part of like, if you follow any of the legal people, she's a public defender in PG County, Maryland. So, and her husband is a private defender, but anyway, she like evaluates like sovereign citizens and Moorish Americans and a lot of those like videos and stuff, and she breaks down the legal perspective of like how to safely interact with police, and also like what you should do if you find yourself in a courtroom. Like she gives not legal advice, but just, you know, tells you like, see this video, don't do this, stuff like that, you know. But she put up on her community tab that she went to a Friendsgiving this weekend, and they had like kind of like a chili cook-off, except it was a macaroni and cheese off. And I was like, that's the holiday I want.
I love that for them.
A macaroni and cheese off. Can you imagine like how many different styles? Natalie the lawyer. Yeah, Natalie lawyer chick. She's fantastic. If you guys haven't ever watched her videos, like she kind of does like similar things to like what Emily D. Baker does, but instead of like a prosecutorial perspective, hers is from a defense attorney perspective. So
That
it's
would be great.
That'd be a cool
her content is extremely good, but she is an active public defender. So like she doesn't have a lot of content because, you know, she doesn't do YouTube full time. She has like a regular job.
She's just like an actual job.
Yeah, she's like an actual like practicing attorney who actually like tries to keep people from spending the rest of their lives in prison.
Right.
She's a very mean job. Yeah.
Can we take a quick second to sing Coffee Buzz some love? They posted a comment and said that this will be their third Thanksgiving without their mom. And I tried to make everything like my mom did for my dad. And I want to send you some love.
Yes,
that is something that's really that's the type of tradition I care about. Yes. Like that's really beautiful.
Coffee Buzz, I want to give you a recommendation for something to do. Because I'm actually doing it for my oldest is an adult now, and my oldest child is an adult, but I'm doing it for my oldest. Get like a composition notebook and write down your mom's recipes and your family recipes, stuff like that. You can buy like special, you know, recipe books like that are already bound, but they're blank if you want, but write down those family recipes so you don't lose them. Because like my husband, his great grandmother has a very famous recipe in the family, but she at some point got so old she started to mess up her own recipe and forget the steps or forget ingredients. And if it hadn't been for the fact that it had been written down, that recipe would have been lost. And my husband is now the only person who has that recipe, and he actually keeps it in his wallet because nobody else in the family like cared that much about it. But it really and truly like write it down because that's your family legacy. And I know it doesn't seem like much, but like I'll use myself for an example. Like with my son, you know, he's here visiting and he doesn't like macaroni and cheese. But when I make it, if I put in like a little bit of like mustard powder or just, you know, a squeeze of mustard, then my son loves it. But something like that you're not going to find that in a recipe. That's just something I throw in. And those are the things that make those things that your mom made for your dad so special. Like that little bit of just her touch. The one thing that she did to take a regular recipe from Betty Crocker and make it personal to your family. So write it down, keep it, and then pass that on to your kids, your siblings, whatever. Or actually, you know what? Let me show you something really quick. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm walking through my house. Sorry about the lights. This is what my husband did for me.
Now we got to get to the topic.
This is what my husband did for me. Last year. So this is a cutting board. And I know y'all can't see, but that's my grandmother's handwriting and my mother's handwriting. And it's recipes, like family recipes, but it's in their handwriting. Stuff like that. Preserve those things because otherwise, like, my husband had somebody make that. You can find people who do it on like Etsy and stuff, but like you'll lose those, not just the recipes, but their handwriting as well. So those things, like what you want to do for your dad, that's fantastic. But like, don't lose it for yourself because 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're going to want those you're going to want those recipes written down for yourself, for your kids, stuff like that.
We have that in our family too from back from Europe centuries ago, like back to the 1600s. And what we have is recipes in the handwriting, but we also we put they put down, which was a nice thing, the prices. So like in a dozen of eggs or flour and how much they cost. And I think that's important to generations to come, is to see, just
Track inflation.
yes, that, and just it, because recipes are important, but tracking how much it cost at the time, it was the more essence of anything you can have there. But yeah, that's really nice to have that wooden board with the handwriting and stuff. It's treasure, it's a treasure that you will always have in your family, and you can pass down to your children. And
and it preserves your family, like your family traditions, and it creates a legacy for that you may not have had before now.
Yes, yeah, very much. And I love the way Thanksgiving is in America. Like, when I had my house in Florida, I celebrated. It was my favorite time of the year. I really enjoyed it. Now I can't make a turkey. I mean, I can make a turkey, but nothing like I'm sure you guys can make. And Brussels sprouts and collard greens and all that stuff. I loved it. But you guys, America knows how to make. There's nobody in the world that can make a Thanksgiving like you guys do. What's your favorite recipe, for all of you guys? Mine's sweet potatoes or sweet yams.
I don't really celebrate the holidays, so I have no dog in this fight.
Anybody else?
It depends on how I'm feeling, because at this point, like, when I was little, it used to be, oh, this is when we have these particular things. Like, we had dressing and stuff for the holidays. But now that I'm older, it kind of lost some of its nostalgia, because I know how to cook all this shit. And if I got a taste for some dressing, I just gonna make some.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha.
I feel like it all. Like, it's certain stuff that nobody can make, like my auntie and like my mama. Like, my auntie's sweet potato pie, I don't ever want nobody else's ever.
Yeah.
Girl, you will love mine, bitch. No, I won't. You can keep it. It's okay. Yeah, try the patty pie. It tastes just like your mom, bitch. How dare you? The audacity of you. No, it doesn't.
Absolutely. I am be doing that about my grandmother, macaroni and cheese.
That's so true, though. That, like, people who try to get you to, like, try their recipes, it's they don't realize that it isn't just the taste; it's the sentimental stuff behind it. Like, it means so much to you because that's your grandmother's recipe. It tastes so good because you're not just tasting like what your grandmother makes; you're tasting like the love behind it. The effort behind it.
Yeah.
At least your grandmother. I don't know. My grandmother, not so much, but hopefully your grandmother.
Yeah, mine was the bomb.
Have things from, like, it's not even just the recipes, it's the cooking tin. I have the cooking tins from my grandmother. Or I know we're talking about Thanksgiving, but for Christmas, I still I have the Christmas cookie cutouts from my grandmother from, the 19 whatever, 02, 010 or type of thing. Like, it's those things too that are special. Even though I don't use it every year, it's something special that you have. And we all have it. We all have something that's special, whether it's a smell, a memory, something to touch. I think it's about family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the traditions too. And like, with that, it's so odd to me how things that people have been doing, Black people in the South, for centuries at this point, are finally catching on with mainstream America. Like, now Bobby Flay is like, yeah, cooking in cast iron is the best way to fry chicken. Duh. Where you been?
Yeah, you guys know.
Like, is there any other way? Like,
and the thing is, That's ruined now too, though.
Yeah.
Because these cast iron skillets is not the healthiest
Right. They
now
not.
because it's recycled trash.
Oh,
Or
no.
not
Exactly.
trash, but metal and all that,
Right.
whatever.
It ain't
So
real cast iron no more.
Yeah, you eating that stuff now.
Oh no. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. The best thing to get is the it'll come to me in a minute. I want to say
Not what I have, probably.
Genuine
I would
cast
probably
iron.
none of us have. Well, I got a set now, but for years I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? But the stainless steel and the ones just wipe off. Y'all
Yeah.
can't even think to
The
that.
non-stick kind.
You know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
I saw an infomercial on that the other day where it's like 3 layers of our non-stick such and such or whatever. Yeah.
Non-stick. Just that
Yeah.
simple. Non-stick. Thank you, Jordan.
The
I couldn't even
best cast
figure it out.
iron that I have ever
Probably
found,
drinking a little too
honestly,
early.
was at like church rummage sales, because they're pre-seasoned and they've been around forever, and they're like the pieces that people have used. But a lot of times people are just passing them on because those are the ones that honestly, that the food tastes the best. What you buy at the store now, even if it's real cast iron, it would take weeks, if not months, to season that correctly so you could even
Right.
use it. I mean, you'd
True.
have to bake. I mean, because people don't realize, like, when you season it, you can never use soap on cast iron at all.
No.
You can.
You
It's
better
supposed
not.
to be. Yeah, you're supposed to use like a rag to wipe it down, just a rag and hot water to wipe it down with. You're never supposed to scrub it ever.
No.
You're supposed to, and then you have to season it with like oil and whatever seasonings you want to use. Like, so if you have like one that, like people who have bake stones in their oven, it's like, that's great. But if you're trying to cook cookies on the same stone you're making pizza, it ain't going to
Right.
taste right because they're not seasoned the same way.
Right. And don't nobody want no garlic ass chocolate chip cookies. No, thank you.
Exactly.
You can keep that.
That's not something I would like. No.
No, but I'm glad that we have now officially caught up on everybody's holiday plans and
Okay.
traditions, and we felt the feels.
Mm.
I do not celebrate the holidays for my own reasons, but I'm glad that I gave you guys the opportunities to feel all of your nostalgia. But
Where are we
Let's
going?
talk about sex, baby.
Where are we going, Jordan?
sorry. That was only supposed to be one dramatic goal, but the first one slid down wrong. Excuse me.
I like your purple jacket. It's nice.
Thank you. My cousin gave it to me, and I can't remember what jacket she stole of mine as payment for it, but
See,
it is what it is. But I love it.
get a trade-off.
But that's my cousin, child. She can do that. Like, hey, Ari, if you're watching this, hey, Deadpoon, I love you. But she can do that. I don't care if she do it, child. She goes shopping in my trunk all the time. But I wanted to talk about something tonight because I wanted to just like feel good about ourselves for a minute. Like I just wanted to talk about like centering our sexy, how we show ourselves self-love, how we're taking care of ourselves, and how we can encourage ourselves and each other to perpetuate self-love as our first love. Because I wanted to kind of get your opinions on why it is ingrained in women to inherently like from a subconscious perspective find our sexy in the eyes of what of the men that we want to attract. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just internalized misogyny. You know, I mean, when you look at how we view each other, and how we view ourselves, a lot of women look at at females, whether you know, whether, you know, trans women or cis women or whatever, like LGBTQIA plus women, like women in general, we're seen through the lens of masculinity. And I think that even when we look at each other, it's always looking through the male perspective as opposed to looking at each other through our own eyes. Does that make sense? Like, am I?
100%. Because to me, it goes back to when I used to hear women say, like, dress for the man you want, or like first it was like dress for the man you want, then it was dress for the job you want. At some point, when men decided to be independent for themselves and worry about getting their shit together before they started worrying about getting a man. But it it just seems like a woman's view of what's sexy is almost skewed. It's almost skewed to what she wants to attract versus what I always thought it should be, is like a woman dressing for the woman that she wants to be. Like, I've always felt like a woman's sexy should come from her own perspective of herself. When she looks in the mirror, if she feels sexy, then she's sexy. Who give a damn what her fucking man thinks?
Right. And I
You know what I
think
mean?
it was
To do with age. Like when you're younger, I agree, trying to dress to impress, and as you're getting older, but you know, the prerogative I think was for women when you're, you know, when we look also, like if you flip it around, when you look for a man, in the man when you're in your 20s you look for um cuteness, or you look for sexiness, you know. In your 30s you look for money, in your 40s you look for a handyman type of thing. So I'm wondering in the you know, and I wonder with men too, you know, it's of course when you're, you know, their version of, they want to look for something sexy when they're younger, and then when they're older someone who can, I don't know, what do men look for after sexiness? For a woman they look to have children. That's a big thing for men. And then when they're in their 40s, if they're haven't founded or divorced or widowed, are they looking for a companion? You know, it there's a lot of a lot there.
it's
There's a lot.
definitely rooted in misogyny and patriarchy, I think, because too, if you go back to early 1900s, it was okay, we got to sell you off to this man. We got to
That's what
make
a
sure he
dowry
has
was.
money. So
Mm.
you got to make sure you look young enough and thin enough, and your hair's a certain way, and your waist is snatched, and all that, because that's the only way that you're going to be. That's the most success, the highest success you're going to be able to have is marrying a rich husband. So you have to look
Fair
like
enough.
what he wants you to look like. And as times have changed, thank God I don't feel like I could have been born back then, because baby, fuck you and your acres and your mule.
2
Like,
centuries
and
before
with
that, you've been fine.
But I
with
think,
different
like,
generations is different. As I mean, growing up when I was younger, I was never like a small girl. So it was, even then, my mama didn't give a fuck. Like, she would say, if you feel comfortable in that, wear it. But even she has certain things like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna wear that because I don't feel like that will look cute. But do you like it? Yeah, I do. But I'm like, girl, wear it. And that's how I am now, baby. Yep. If it's hot, you gonna see me outside in a crop top if that's what I feel like wearing. You finna get this stomach and you finna get this fupa, and if you don't like it, you ain't gotta look at me. Cause
I
I'm
love
fine as
that.
fuck and I'm gonna wear what I wanna wear.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And I'm so, like, I wish I could give you such an applause for that. And let me explain why. Because so I had a gastric bypass surgery a few years ago, and it was the worst mistake I could have made for my health, because I had so many complications and stuff, but I had this mindset of, I had gotten big, and my autoimmune system, my body was not dealing with it well, and I was just spending time in the gym. Like, I got stress fractures from exercising. Not because I pushed so hard, but because I was so heavy. And whenever I let other people convince me that I needed to lose all of the weight, it really, really affected me in a horrible way. And I wish now that I could go back and tell myself before I started all that and be like, go to therapy, go to the support groups, admit you have a food addiction, like all of that. But don't alter your body through surgery that can never be undone. Like, don't do this because other people's opinion of your appearance it's all about external pressure. And I internalize the external pressure. So, I mean, I'm looking at you right now and I see a beautiful, confident woman, and I don't care about if somebody else thinks that your body is attractive or appealing or whatever, because that has nothing to do with who you are as a person. It's who you are on the inside. Your soul, that light, that beauty, that shines out through you. So your confidence in that, I am 110% here for it, because I didn't do that. I didn't have that, and it hurt me. And I wish that I had been I wish that I had loved myself as much as you love yourself, to not make such a monumental mistake that can never be reversed.
That's where it starts. Where it started for me, because I was in not so good circumstances about a decade ago. Yeah, about a little bit over a decade ago. And I had lost so much weight. And it wasn't by choice. It was because I was in terrible circumstances. I didn't have food. I had to walk everywhere I went. And I moved back home, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, like, you look so good. And what did you do? And I couldn't be like, well, I was homeless and smoking weed and had to walk everywhere and didn't have no food.
Yeah.
But it's
it's hard.
All right, am I happy now that I'm smaller? No, I still feel shitty about myself. So that's not it. So what's it?
It's that
you
other
gotta
people
love yourself.
Yeah,
So,
and other
when I
people
got that,
reinforce your value based off of their own standards of beauty. So like it's I mean, I know, Jordan, you and I had a conversation a couple months ago, I think it was, where I told you about how like somebody had, I had gotten a lot of compliments after I lost the weight, and all I could think was like, man, you like me now, but you didn't like me then. Why am I worth more to you now than then? The only difference is the scale. Like what size I buy when I go to Old Navy. Like, come on. So for me, it made me value other people a lot less when I lost weight, because I was like, all of a sudden I realized that how much I was worth to them only went up once I fit their standard of beauty. And that nobody should ever be made to feel like they're less than because of the size of jeans that they put on in the morning.
like a lot of like people.
There's a lot of pretty people that are shitty people.
And reinforce that in their own minds, and the insecurities that they have with themselves is like, oh girl, if I was your size, I would never wear that. Well, you're not, and I am. So I don't know what you want me to say. Like, and also with skin tone specifically in my family, because I have people that's my color, lighter than me, darker than me. My daughter is maybe like your color, Jordan. And whenever it's summertime, she's a regular healthy 14-year-old. She's gonna go outside and play. She's gonna, mama, can I walk around the corner? I'm finna go walk with my friends. Cool. And she ends up being maybe my complexion by the end of the summer. And my cousin, one of my older cousins, was like, who, you gonna have to get her some super glow so she can get her color back. I don't have to get her shit, because my baby is stunning, whether she's cold midnight black or whether she's banana yellow. And what you're not going to do is say that shit around my child and give her a complex and make her be color struck.
No, that is
we ain't
so.
doing that.
I don't understand the obsession that people have with how light or how dark somebody is and how that fits into a standard of beauty. I don't get it. I'm a vampire. I mean, I'm a vampire. I am the palest of pale person that you have ever met. I mean, like, no joke. I have to order my foundation from Sweden. I'm that pale. The palest foundation you can buy short of clear is me. I can't self-tan. Wow. I look weird. I look like Trump. I don't want to be an orangutan. Like, I don't want to do that, you know? And fair enough, so for me, like, I look at this and I think all these people who are like, oh girl, you need a tan. It's like, I'm never going to tan. That's a one-way ticket to skin cancer. But so I'm never going to do that. And the flip side of that with saying, oh no, you're too dark, you need to lighten up. It's so just.
But that's a completely different person between a white person having a tan as opposed to somebody who is black that has naturally dark skin or light skin. It's a completely
I know.
different
I
thing.
can't.
Like if I'm a white skinned person that when I tan it looks, you know, a glow type of thing and I don't burn. And if somebody burns, it's completely different than somebody who is or who's dark skin or light skin as a black person. It's a totally a different cultural connotation. And I'm learning that now. And I'm not sure, can I ask you guys, was that something that has always been around, or is it something that is just being talked about more so now? Like I'm new to that colorism, and I'm probably out of my depth and sound like a complete idiot right now speaking.
No, you don't.
It's something that's just being talked about on television. You're just hearing it. You're just hearing it for the first time because it's just being talked about on television. The problem is that we've been having this talk around our kitchen tables for years. We've been having this conversation at cookouts and family reunions for years. But the difference is that instead of having an informative conversation, we've been enduring bullying from our family members saying that we're too dark or that we're only cute because we're light skinned. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, to Joanna's point, my daughter, on the flip side of that, is Joanna's color, right? And I say all the time, I want to get as dark as she is because I want to be like, I want that type of richness. Like, I want to be that kind of cute. Like, I want that type of glow. Because for me, the way my daughter's skin glows, it is just like, it melts me, sis. Like, I feel like my daughter, her skin is just so beautiful. She just radiates through her chocolate, and I live for it. Like, I want to get that dark so bad.
Well, is anybody
but
Idris Elba, his skin tone, whatever he is, light, dark skin, whatever, you know, it's his sexiness that comes out as far as I'm concerned, whatever skin tone, and that's just me, but it is something that I'm listening to, and it's within a community that I'm not a part of, and so I hope that you guys don't mind if we listen to it, and if I say something out of turn, like I said, I apologize for it.
Nah, you good. To Jamila's point, like, that's big facts. Because people in Brazil, people in Puerto Rico, like, literally every fucking where, like, Amada La Negra has talked about this so much.
Yes.
And you will go places and see people
her first 2 seasons
darker than me that will swear up and down they ain't black. Baby, I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you black, sweetheart. I know you grew up in Mexico, but baby, you got some African in your blood. You might want to go figure out where it originates from, but you black. Yeah, I'm Mexican. You're still black. Like, Afro-Latina is a thing.
You know, it's funny that we're talking about this because I literally an hour ago put up a post on Twitter before I even knew you were going live, Jordan. And I put up a post because, you know, I'm getting my little one ready, putting her in the bathtub and getting her bath toys ready. And I've been seeing all these posts from, you know, people on social media and stuff about like holiday shopping and trying to find the right toys for their girls. like the dolls, you know, that they want to buy for their daughters and stuff like that. And like, I think that especially for people like that, like myself, I grew up in, you know, I'm a white woman, but my stepdad and two of my siblings are not. And so for me, having that kind of multiculturalism, that very diversity, that pluralism, it's important to start incorporating that at a very young age. And so like, you know, getting my daughter in the bathtub and realizing that her bath toys, you know, she has her little baby doll, and she has one of her baby dolls that she put in the bathtub tonight. The baby doll is black. Her like our elf on a shelf is the black elf. And it was funny though, because I remember when I bought them, I just bought them because that's what my daughter wanted. But there's literally all these parents out here who are putting stuff on Twitter and on Facebook and things like that, and they're talking about how they have to regulate the toys they give to their kids for skin color so that their kids play with toys that look like them. And I'm like, okay, except if you're white, all the toys look like you for the most part. And if you're not white, then your kids have been forced to play with toys that never look like them. So how is it so hard to start teaching at the youngest of ages about diversity through something as simple as the dolls that our kids play with? Like, those are teachable moments, and it's important. It's important.
That's where I come in, because that's how I raised my kid. Like, I raised my daughter intentionally. Every single form of media she's consumed from the time that she was born was predominantly Black influence.
Good.
That's same. Like, that was how, like I said earlier, the mascot for my elementary school was the Black Panthers, because they wanted us to be ingrained and to have it deep down in our shunda that this is you and you are amazing. Period. If you don't, you may not see yourself in this place, you may not see yourself in this place, but we're going to root you in a space of people that look like you so you can learn you're not an anomaly. You're never going to be the token Black anything. These dolls going to look like you. These shows are going to be about you. You're going to learn about HBCUs at a very young age and learn where that excellence came from. You're going to know that, yes, just because you got blonde hair don't mean you had to dye your hair. There are Black people with naturally blonde hair. You're not trying to look white. Just because you speak eloquently, you're not trying to talk white. You're going to be the best version of yourself. And you're going to know that Black is beautiful, because there are going to be 8 billion other things when you get out in this world and you get a little bit older that's going to show you the exact opposite. And we need you to know what we need you to know. See, that's why representation is super
and that's all it is. It's not nothing against a different race. It's our kids need to understand that, because when they do get out in this world, they're gonna see something else.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but then you have like the opposite, like my high school, my high school mascot was a rebel soldier. Like, so like that's it's the things that get taught to kids that don't necessarily reinforce the lessons we want them to learn. You know, like, it wasn't until later on that I realized that was highly offensive. You know, I mean, well, we've talked about this before, but I think that we have to start reinforcing beauty standards where from the youngest of ages in our girls, that we have to start reinforcing beauty standards, but across a spectrum, so that our children learn that whether you are on the, you know, whether you're way over here or way over here, like, it's a spectrum. And as long as you feel beautiful, as long as it's beautiful to you, then what anybody else thinks of whether or not they agree or approve doesn't matter. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel good? Then that's what we want to teach. Does it make you feel like you are valuable and you're worthwhile? That's the lesson we want to teach.
Exactly. And
And that's the
it
question that I want to ask you guys.
crazy enough,
Sorry,
it
babe, go ahead.
shows up, especially with the colorism thing, in so many different insidious ass insidious and very intentional ways. Like you see the movie Coach Carter, for example, like, and so many other black movies before that. If you have a nice, handsome chocolate Rob Brown, Morris Chestnut, Tay Diggs, Idris Elba type of character, they're not gonna be with like a Nia Long. They're gonna be with a Halle Berry. They're gonna be with Ashanti. They're gonna be with Beyonce. Like, it's gonna be, if you got a dark skinned dude, he gonna have to have a little cute little light skinned girl. And that's what's acceptable, is the message that it reinforces. And it's crazy, and it all stems back to American chattel slavery and racism, and the house slave and the field slave. And if you were light skinned, okay, you have some white in you, so you're a little bit more acceptable. They're gonna keep you in the house. You have better living conditions, possibly. You're gonna be able to get away with a little bit more.
Yeah, but they
Because
also
you're
got
more than
raped
likely a
more.
master's child. Right, exactly. They
That.
absolutely did, because they were seen as more desirable. Oh, you closer to white, so you come in, versus, oh yeah, she just a little, she a little field slave. No, I don't want her. Go give me the yellow one over there. Like, that Willie Lynch letter is no joke. And we're just now kind of starting to get out of that mindset a bit. We got a lot of work to do.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
100%.
As how can a non-black person support or listen to this conversation and understand? Do we just listen to the conversation, or do we
Can I jump in?
Ask questions?
ask questions,
Yeah.
in that way? Because to me,
It's
I'm
Go ahead, Nicole.
almost 50,
it's
and
not a non-black issue
yeah,
at this point.
okay.
It's
Because for
nothing you
me,
can do right now. This is something we need to work out in our own community, because in my eyes, as a light-skinned woman that is not mixed, have a different view than what Jordan and Joanna would say.
okay.
Because my husband is dark skinned. But it wasn't not like what Joanna's saying. Now, don't get me wrong, I agree with what you're saying, because that's what we see. But his first wife was Joanna's color. So it's not like he traded. I mean, he decided to marry, because this is what came to me.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you the light skinned one, he got kids by a darker skinned one, but that just proves my point. He married you. You're light skinned. No, that's not how our story goes.
Right.
Okay.
It's like, nah, he married me because this man loves the fuck out of me because of who I am.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
And that's
let me
all
lend
he just walked in talking about
to.
hello.
Hey, hubby. Let me lend something to your question, really quick. I think that it is about positioning yourselves in spaces where the questions that you have are going to be answered, right? So I think that maybe not every conversation is the conversation that you need to listen to, but maybe there are conversations about the specific questions that you're having that can satisfy that curiosity. I always tell people do their own research. I always tell people look up. I always tell people, hey bougie, what's going on, mama? Oh, sorry, I was trying to click the thing and I ended up scrolling it. Hey babe. But I think that it's always you don't always have to facilitate those conversations with the people of color that you're questioning. I think that sometimes
Right.
it takes a level of research and like going back and researching like the history and the things that have come into play when it comes to those specific subjects. And then once you've given yourself a certain level of awareness, I think that
Mhm.
it would be great to then position yourself within the conversations to ask questions, because it it is it's easy for a person of a, it's easy for a person of color to question your intentions when you have no prior knowledge of what you're asking about. Do you get what I
Okay.
mean?
I do understand that. Yes.
Like, because if like, to lighten the heaviness of this, if I was asking you about, hey, what happened in Rhode Island in 1965? And any average person of any color would be like, bitch, Google is free, go and look it up.
Okay.
Right? I can apply that same thing to this.
Okay.
Like, just saying, like
Yeah.
Google is
Yeah.
free. Look,
Yes, you're
use
right.
it, right? So like, without being aggressive about it, I can apply that same rhetoric to this conversation and be like, there's enough accurate and informative knowledge that you can go and immerse yourself in to give
Yes, you're
yourself
right.
any type of familiarity with the subject before you go and ask about somebody else's personal experience. I think that giving yourself a general awareness can raise the level of empathy that you can have when somebody talks about their personal experience. If you understand what systematic racism is, it'll be so much easier to talk to a black person about what they experience every day.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Does
But
that
you
make
also have,
sense?
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no.
I also think that the way that it's framed is incredibly important. A white person asking a black person about racism puts the
Mm-hmm.
onus on the black person. White people created racism,
Mm-hmm.
not black people. White people created this problem, not black people. We broke it.
Yeah.
We have to fix it. It is our responsibility. Black people didn't go, I think I want to be a marginalized person. We don't see like people from Mexico coming into the United States going, hey, I think I want you guys to call me horrible names and tell me to go back home and, ask me if I swam across the river or whatever. Like the horrible things that white people say to people of other races to justify their own racism puts the onus of that racism on their target. We have to, as
And
white
that's
people,
why.
acknowledge that we created this problem in order to put people in their own sphere and to assign them a value. We
I agree.
assigned people who don't look like us
I agree, but
different
however,
values than we assigned ourselves. And unfortunately, most white people don't want to listen to that, what our ancestors did. That we don't want to listen to what happened. We don't want to do that, because then we
no,
have
but
to acknowledge the fact that we
agree with that
benefited.
in some ways, because in it's not that we don't want to fix it. It's that we don't want to, when you break it, when you cause the problem, you want to ensure the people who are victimized to have a say in how to fix it, because you can't say that we broke it, we fix it, without having the people that we
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean,
okay.
put it in
Okay.
a different context. Let's put it
Okay,
in
go
a
ahead.
different
Here's
a
the
different
difference.
context. Is
Here's the
something like,
difference. Here's the
if
difference.
oh, okay. So I was going to say, if we were to put it
Here's
in
the
a
difference.
different, if we were to put it in a different context, sorry, Jordan, I don't mean to keep interrupting you, sweetheart.
You're
But
fine, babe.
if we were to, we don't look at like rape victims and say, hey, how do you not get raped? Because we don't know the answer to that. The answer is, we don't let people do that. Just don't do it. So that's the thing is, you know what? Just stop acting that way. And then we don't need to ask the victims how they cannot be victimized. We don't need to ask the targets how they cannot be targeted. And unfortunately, that's the thing, is that white people like putting the onus of the solution for racism on the target of that bigotry. And that is,
nope, I think that went far left from what her question was.
I agree.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Analogy is
I'm so sorry. I was trying to make a point and I think I skipped it.
That's not, yeah.
Here's the difference in what you two are saying. I think that that's where the research comes in. I think you don't ask a Black person about racism. You ask a Black person about their personal experience, right? So you don't ask a Black person to define or explain what racism is. You ask them what their personal experience is with racism. That's where the research comes in. You go and you research all the ways that racism has affected this country systematically, and then you go and you navigate yourself within a conversation with a Black person to see their personal experience, because then you can understand the nuance. You ask Black people about microaggressions. Don't ask them about racism, because that's where the nuance comes in. That's where the greater conversation comes in. And that's where you can learn exactly how you can immerse yourself in a conversation and not say shit that's racist when you don't mean to. Do what I'm saying? Like you have to go and learn. That's where the learning about what your ancestors did, learning about what your learning about where your privilege comes from, and like how you're directly benefiting from a systematic structure that's put in place for our oppression and for your benefit, whether you're seeing it happen before your eyes or not. I think that's where the research comes in, and then you talk to us about what we actually experience on a day-to-day basis, so that you can understand the nuance, so that you can check your own behaviors. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do,
And it's going to be
and
very
thank you for that.
different depending on who you talk to, which is also where the nuance comes in. Ways that I've experienced racism might include some colorism, whereas ways Jordan experienced racism might be different. Nakia experiences racism is going to be different. Nakia might be, oh yeah, you just think you cute because you yellow. That has something to do with race, and it also has something to do with colorism in a different way than somebody saying, oh girl, get your black ass out of here. I'm dark skinned and I'm Black. Jordan is going to have a completely different experience being a trans woman. So it's a whole lot of layers to it, which is, I think, what Jordan was saying. That's where your research comes in at. Because if you say, okay, Joanna, Jordan, and Nakia, what are your experiences with racism? And all of us give you a completely different story, you still going to be
How
confused.
are you going to understand that?
And
it's like you can't ask somebody about their personal experience when you don't understand the general concept.
Correct. Well, not correct. Well, correct, but I just wanted to say thank you for enlightening me, because this conversation is important to me, and I'd rather make stumbles and in a loving environment, knowing that I'm not trying to come across as being privileged or not. I'm really trying to understand, and I thank you. Thank all of you, all four of you, and anybody else
we
that's
get
watching.
that. I think
It's
we
really
get that
eye-opening
from your question. I'm a like really kind of really right back to what Jordan and Joanna. And Joanna, we gonna fight, child. My name is Nakaya.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Bust my head.
Okay.
Cuss me out every time. Cuss me out, baby. Give it to me.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You're correct. I apologize.
It's
I
okay.
hate when people do that to me too. I apologize. I'm sorry.
You're all right. I had to come in like you. I had to come in like Vibe, you know. But
I'm with it.
When we were talking about self-love, and you and Jordan was saying how you show your kids, your girls, self-love as a young black woman. So I think if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think is it pronounce your name for me? Is it Andrea?
Yes.
Okay. I think what you were trying to say, because you hearing all this colorism talk here lately that you like, well, what can I do or to understand? Am I correct?
Yes, without being offensive or sounding like
Yeah.
adult. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I said. It's not the colorism part. Racism is a total different box.
Got it.
As I'm just gonna say that. But as far as the colorism part, someone that's not black, there's nothing they can do or you guys can do at this point. Now, if you want to engage in the conversation, then that goes back to what Jordan said. Do your research. But as far as helping or anything of that nature, it's within our community at this point that we need to work this out, because we are 3 different shades right now on here. But we understand each other and we just met each other, but we're like, girl, like what? I ain't seen you in a while type of shit, but really I just met you a while ago. And I like that because everybody's getting hurt. Now someone that's not black,
we're not in that conversation. We can just
no, not really at this point.
Not at all. No,
yeah,
not
well,
at all.
yeah. I mean,
I get that, and that's why I wanted to ask.
Because here's the reason for that. Sorry, here's the reason for that. White people can't do anything about colorism because colorism is a derivative of racism that is being perpetuated by the community itself. This is the call is coming from inside the house.
That's it.
The call is coming from inside the house. So at this point,
Molly, you and
y'all
Daisy,
issue.
So can I ask you,
baby?
I'm sorry, Jordan. I interrupted you again. That's so rude. I apologize. I wanted to ask because this seems like maybe opposite sides of the same coin. How colorism for the Black community is one side of the coin, and the opposite side of the coin for white people would be like what we would consider, like, we call each other white trash and redneck and all that stuff. So in all of that is a form of racism, but that white people use against each other. So am I getting the context correct?
Way,
it's a little similar,
but
that's more classism than racism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, because the issue is what white people don't call each other white trash because they're white. They call each other white trash because they're broke. That's a completely separate thing. Whereas colorism stems from being separated within our own community because of the racist system that was put in place by white people, right? So I think what you're getting at is our conversation that we need to have as Black people is about colorism, and the conversation that you need to be having as a white person with the Black person is how I can perpetuate the message of anti-racism. Right? That's the conversation that y'all need to be having with other white people, is what we can be doing to derail racism, and we need to handle amongst ourselves colorism because that's our problem right now.
Can I just change the subject super quick, really quick? Jordan, I know I'm a day late and $1 short, but happy Trans Day. Because I meant to send you a message, and by the time I realized what day it was, I was like, oh no. And then I was like, I didn't want to like send you a message because I was like, it was so late that I didn't want to like send you a direct message and like wake you up, or send you a text message and like
belated
wake you up.
Trans Day is fine.
Like,
no, it's good. I'm up at
and then I was like,
all
oh
hours
no.
of the night.
But I just wanted to say that because I definitely think that you deserve to be recognized, especially on your own channel.
Oh, thank you. Y'all know that I really don't even be thinking about that, but like not that I don't think about it, but like I don't necessarily make it like about me necessarily. I'll just post about it for the greater community, and then I'll talk about it on a day that's not specifically on Trans Awareness Day. I'll bring that topic up on a day that's not that, so that it won't be like, oh, me just trying to get clicks for like Trans Awareness Day. It's like, no, I talk about this shit every day. Like, let's not even act like I'm doing it for hype. But to center that back to the subject at hand, the reason why this conversation comes up is because not just we as black women, but we as women, we have very specific ways that we view ourselves in the context of what is sexy, what is not. And then within the context of our communities, the vision of that does kind of get altered because there is probably a little, well, I'm going to go out on a limb and speak for us and say that there's probably a big difference in the way that black women view women, or black men view women as sexy, versus the way that white men view women as sexy, or the other, or all of the other races, right? Like and I think that plays back into that nuanced conversation of like, there's just things culturally that you guys see as what's attractive to you all. We see things that's attractive to us. And, you know, are those things exclusive to races? No, because I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of white guys that like tits and ass. And I'm pretty sure that there's lots of guys that are black that like rail thin models. If not, I wouldn't be getting any play out here. So,
can I ask a question? Can I ask a question to the panel?
Of course.
When with comfortability, what is the sexiest time you've ever felt? Like without, I'll give you an example for myself. The sexiest I ever felt was when I was taking care of my niece, and I was in a mother role, and my boyfriend at that time saw me in a light, and he felt that I was a great mother figure, you know, in that way, and that made me feel so like a Mother Earth kind of sexiness. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to say in a way that makes anybody feel uncomfortable, but you know, in a general way, like we've all felt sexy in different ways. I mean, it could be, you know, on the beach with the lover, you know, that swept you off your feet. Like, you know, there's different moments that we've all felt sexy, and sexy means different things to different people.
Yeah, it definitely means different things.
Yeah.
Can I challenge that question?
Sure.
Just add a quick amendment to that question. Can I reposition that question as what is the time that you felt sexiest independent of another person's perspective? Like without like when's the time that you've just felt sexy? It's just you. Whether it's you just getting out the shower and you naked in the mirror by yourself, or like you just try on a new dress at the store. Like when is the time that you just looked at yourself and was just like, I'm a bad bitch right now?
On a good boob day?
For me, it was when I probably was most in love with somebody. When when I was at the height of being in love with somebody, that they felt in love with me, and I felt like it was symbiotic. I have to say, it was somebody appreciated me like I appreciated them. That,
but you never had a time where it was just about you.
No,
not about anybody else.
No.
I think that
I have to admit that. Yes. No, I don't. No, I haven't yet. Hopefully one day, but right now.
Well, we gonna work on that, child.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I want to discuss that a little further, but I want to. But I do want to get to Joanna and Nakaya, and I think that Kristen was about to say something. What were you saying, babe?
So to answer your question about when am I independent of anyone else felt sexy? I don't think I think sexy is kind of in and of itself like sensual, more. It's about, because sexy is about attracting a mate. So when I think about sexy, it's always in perspective to another person. But when I felt beautiful and confident and where I liked the way I looked or the way I felt or whatever, it's, that day, like when you wake up in the morning and, like you're wide awake and you just wake up in a good mood and you feel good about yourself and you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, the twins are sitting up high today, like when you feel like that, it doesn't necessarily, for me, it's not necessarily that I'm wearing a certain outfit or my makeup's done a certain way or my hair's styled a certain way or I'm wearing the right shoes or something. So for me, the sexiest I have felt it has nothing to do with what's on me, and it has everything to do with what's in me, and I feel like I feel most attractive and most confident when I am most myself. When I try to change something about me to suit another person is when I start to feel less. And then I don't feel like I'm attracting them because it's not me. It's what they want. It's the projection of their appeal as opposed to what I feel inside. Does that make sense a little?
Perfect sense. That's kind of what mine is. I have 14 piercings. And 14, baby. Girl.
Baby, girl. They not all in your ear.
I've got 7.
I have 5 in each ear. And then I have my nipples pierced and I have my tongue pierced and I have my clit pierced too. But
you just skipped over that.
It's for sure it ain't a skip because that's my favorite one.
Lord,
period.
Okay.
My shit just started aching.
Period.
Okay.
It's every
Did everybody just giggle at the same time?
Amen. But
amen. And a lady.
My second favorite piercing is my tragus, which is this little part in the ear because I used to have debilitating migraines that started when I was 14. Like I literally could only sit in a dark room with no noise and no sense under the cover, and that was the only way that I would be able to, and take like 8 Excedrin migraine, and that was the only way that I wouldn't go completely insane.
Oh, yeah.
And I got my tragus pierced when I was 23, I think.
Does it work?
And it completely knocked them out.
Wow. I've had them since I was 12, so I'm all about that.
Yeah, I went from having maybe 2 to 3 a week to having maybe 4 or 5 a year, and none of them are as severe. Like I would throw up.
What time Clay
if you touched my head. Like I would want to punch you in the face. Like it was completely 100% debilitating. I couldn't do anything but sit in the dark room and tell everybody to shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
But is that your sexy piercing?
Okay, no. It was when
we're talking sexy piercings, not
right. My
was when she got her Mia modeled on.
My sexiest moment was I had gotten out of the shower. I had took a nice long shower, got out the shower, rubbed myself down with my little lotions, and I happened to look in the mirror. And I'm natural. My hair was super curly because I hadn't did nothing to it. And I looked at myself and I had put some new nipple rings in a couple days before, which is why I brought the piercings up. Nipples was glistening and blingy.
All right.
Curls was popping. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, bitch.
Good for you.
You fine as fuck. Just look. And it was the fact that it was kind of my most natural form of myself. I ain't had no makeup on. I had no lashes on. I had no wig on. My hair wasn't straightened. It was nice and curly the way it naturally grows out of my head. Wasn't no bra on to perk happiness up. They was hanging how they wanted to hang, and the nipple was blingy.
Mm-hmm.
And I still felt like I'm good. Like I like this. Like I love me. And for me, because there was a time when I avoided mirrors because I hated looking in the mirror.
Wow.
Because there was literally, like, I was talking to one of my therapist friends like some years and years ago. And she was like, well, you just got to love yourself. And I was like, I don't know how to do that.
Like that's what the
That comes a lot from looking in the mirror like that. That's a lot.
And she was like, okay, start, like, it's not an overnight process, because it didn't take you overnight for people to put certain things into your head that made you hate yourself. So you loving yourself is not going to happen overnight either. Start with look in the mirror, like not internal, because internal I've always been good. Like I'm smart, I'm good with people, I can be friendly, I can be this, I can be that. But outside, she was like, pick one thing about yourself physically that you like. And I literally could not think of a single solitary thing. And she was like, all right, we're going to work on it. So going from that moment to me literally not having to have braids in my hair, not having to have a sew-in, not having to have a wig on, not having to have makeup or lashes, not having nothing to hide myself, period. And I looked in the mirror and was like, bitch, you it?
Wow.
That was mine.
I'm envious. I think that's amazing. I hope to have that one day.
You will. You're going to get there. We're going to help you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Listening.
Especially talking to our nasty hoe asses.
Okay.
Why body asses?
Okay, without wide body banging asses. And
with happiness.
no,
That's beautiful.
That's such a stupid fucking name. That's just
It's so
stupid. I'm
stupid.
sorry. That's such a stupid fucking name. It makes no sense. Like, girl,
No,
shut
but
up.
that's
Like,
Wendy. That's Wendy.
I'm sorry. That just irritates me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Like, just a quick sidebar before I give my moment. Just a quick sidebar. I don't know why she didn't invest in Wendy's franchises instead of fucking candles, but that's beyond me. Next, because that's just all I had on that, and just next.
Yeah.
But for me, I think
the 7 wicks
now, like this that fire hazard, but.
Yes.
I think for me, my current sexiest time in life is right now. It's where I'm at right now. Like feel I look my best. I like the way that my body looks. I'm like my little mosquito bites and all. I feel proud of my little baby. I feel good over here. Mama is sitting over here like my body is right. I'm like I just feel like I like. I've never been in this place before where I genuinely just I look at myself in the mirror and I'm just like
treasure.
Yeah.
Like everything is thinging. Like the titties is tittying, the ass is assing.
Okay, now I'm curious though about because Jordan, it's you have gotten like progressively more confident in how you look and everything else, and like I'm so curious about where you're gonna be a year from now. Because all I can think is it's like watching you. It's like watching the caterpillar become the butterfly, and I want to see. I feel like all we're seeing right now for you is the chrysalis, and I want to see it so much because I'm so every day just like honored that I get to like witness and kind of tangentially be part of it. But then at the same time, like
and I
don't think you realize how inspirational a lot of what you share is. That's your channel is you have a niche and it's very different, but your whole social media presence, it's all about lifting everyone up so that we all rise together. And I love seeing that about you. And it makes it makes you seem like you believe that you deserve to be beautiful and you deserve to be happy and you deserve all the good things. And so when I see you every day, you're a little prettier than you were the day before because you feel more yourself, to me. I hope I'm stating this right.
And until you get that, we gonna beat that shit into your head, dog. Like,
and remember, the number one thing about the number one attractive quality is boundaries. So that's the number one attractive quality. Boundaries. Set your boundaries
and I think
enforce them.
I think what's most like that's what's most validating for me. Thank you, because we're gonna talk about that in just a second.
Okay.
But I think that's what's the biggest part of it for me is that I know that this is just the beginning of my transition. I've only been transitioning for a year. And so to feel this good about myself in this moment, I think the optimism and the potential of where I'm going, it only makes me feel that much more confident because I know that I'm going to constantly be growing the rest of my life anyway. So the fact that I know that I'm already liking what I'm growing into and it can only go up from here, I think that adds another layer of confidence on top of that. Like I feel like a fully realized person.
Like I ain't even all the way up here yet,
before.
And I already feel good.
And like the glow up has just started and I feel amazing. So it's like I've never felt like a fully realized individual until this year. Like this past year of my life has been the most gratifying. And honestly, I can say in the past few weeks of my life, literally the past few weeks of my life have been some of the most enlightening times of my life because it's forced me to be so discovering of myself because now I only have myself to look at.
Right.
I don't look at myself in the context of being with another individual anymore. Now I'm looking at myself as like, bitch, what what you gonna do, what you giving, how you gonna feel yourself, like you don't have your husband to fall back on. You don't have your exactly. You don't have your husband telling you that you look good no matter what to fall back on. You don't have your husband telling you that no matter what wig you're wearing, you still look good to fall back on. You don't have the fact that you're in a relationship to validate you to fall back on. So now every single thing that I feel that's positive about myself now comes directly from me. And
Jordan?
that makes me feel sexy. Hey. That is why I feel sexy.
Yes.
Jordan, they call it the dirty 30s for something.
I tried to tell her.
And you know.
I tried to tell her.
Baby.
It just started. It's just started.
You don't know
Them 30s ain't no joke.
30s. You know what to clock your motherfucking references. You don't know now.
References, children.
I've been,
you don't know now.
Spend the grands I spend. Fuck away. I ain't
the that I spend up. Baby,
yes,
I ain't do all that.
Okay, that's what I just said. Well, I ain't feel you on that part, but the rest of it, yeah, I was there with you.
Yeah,
I was there with you. I was there with you.
We was right there with you. But yeah, girl, that's why I've never felt like that's why I relate to Joanna right now. Now, mind you, I ain't got enough nipple to pierce yet. You know, I'm still working on my areola game. But
you'll get there.
When you get them pierced, it makes them poke out a little bit. It's a little bit too much information. But mine used to be, even though I was always like a big girl, my nipples was always real little, and they didn't seem like they poked out to me. And then I got my nipples pierced, and I was like, these nipples are finally nippling. Like, even after breastfeeding and everything else, it was like, this is how they was supposed to be in the first place.
I'm so done with her.
But you know what's crazy, though? I didn't start liking my tiny ass nipples until my boobs started growing. Now they look so cute. And then there be days where I wake up and my areola looks like a stretched out pancake. And then there be other times where it's back to normal. I don't know what's going on. Like, I guess we're going to have a little titty talk. Sorry, y'all. for the for the 1.2% of my audience that is actually men, the 98.8% of us that are women here. Hi, but like,
Are you happy?
yes, the nipples are nippling, Jamila.
Correct.
We are thriving over
Don't
here.
mind
We
me.
are let me say, Joanna is thriving. Listen, I've been thinking about it. I've been wanting to try new things. Like I'm definitely getting my damn trachea pierced as soon as possible because baby, my temples.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yes, God.
but yeah, like I've thought about it. Like I'm just nervous because a bitch is clumsy. I'm not trying to take off a tank top one day. I'm aggressive. I'm not trying to rip my entire titty off and I just grew it. Like,
Listen, the first
You
time
won't.
you do, because I'm clumsy as fuck as well. And I'm very careless with a lot of the stuff. I bump into shit all the time and don't pay it no attention. The first time you taking off a sports bra and it snags,
and that's all
your
I
ass gonna
wear.
start
Damn
That's
it.
the
being
last
Oh
time.
my
your
word.
ass gonna start being real careful.
Yes, it's gonna
That's
hurt.
the
Period.
last
Shit, talking
time.
about
You
course
gonna
shit and I.
start being real careful.
Damn.
Until they
Nah,
heal,
I'm
you gonna
good.
start being real careful. All it takes
I'm
is
good.
one.
Cause I
All it
think
takes
I
is
might get
one,
my
and you're
lip
gonna be
pierced or
straight.
something. I might get my nose pierced. But I just think I have too much hardware in my face because I have three piercings in each ear plus a tongue ring. That's 7. And for me that was more so for symmetry because I'm just a very like I'm like really big on things looking even, but that's because I had
Why a nose
that
piercing?
that's because I got just because I like it. But
Okay.
if I do, then I would want to get my septum pierced to be directly in the middle or get both nostrils pierced because of symmetry. But the reason why I'm so focused on that is because if you look at my face hard enough, it's not symmetrical. Because
No.
this side of my jaw was broken in a thing. It's a long story. I don't really want to talk about it. But
Okay.
my jaw was broken years ago, right? And so my face has always looked a little off. So if you always see me kind of like fidgeting and
Okay,
angling,
thank you, Joy.
that's why.
Hey,
But I'm
excuse
just
me.
stating
Can I?
it is what it
Can I?
is. What?
Don't nobody see that
Yes,
shit but you,
Steven.
dog.
Okay.
I get
I
that.
agree.
I'm just stating the facts for what it is. I just think that it's fun to know
That's
that
why you have your
I
microphone
think that
on
my
that
entire
side,
face is
right?
crooked.
Are you trying to?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly why.
Girl, don't nobody
But
see that but you.
Like
That
I'm
face
that
Okay.
always
Virgo
gives
is Virgoing.
got that
well,
face always
No,
gives
Jordan is
everything.
Jordan.
Had you not said that, I would have never known.
no, me either.
Right.
But that's my
Nobody likes.
Virgoing. It's why I learned how to contour. It's why I learned how to really like do makeup for real, for real. It's why I wear my mics on the side. It's why I'm more left dominated. Like it just led to so many different things. It's not that I'm insecure about it because it's been so long that now I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But it is, but I recognized what a plague it had on how I saw myself. Like I didn't realize this until I was in my early 20s that I was like, bitch, you do everything so symmetrical because your jaw is not symmetrical. That's why, like, like you do everything to like try to even out your face. But it's not something that I'm like subconscious or like worrying about. It's just something that I noticed and I was like, oh, I do that.
Well, Jordan, you're
But
in your
I
30s.
also am conscious of that because I don't want to have too much hardware
Jordan,
in my face.
Jordan, you're in your 30s now. It's different as time, between your early 20s and your 30s. Now that you're in your 30s, that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter so much anymore. And then when you get to your 40s, then your 50s,
100%.
it's even less
And the
because
hardware in
not
your head, like
not
I said, I got 5 holes in this ear, 5 holes in this ear, and my tongue pierced, and I keep going back and forth about whether I want a nose ring or not.
Well, let me just tell you guys that I have,
I'm
if
going
you
through
ever
that.
look at my pictures, I mean, I don't have that many on my Twitter, but if you look at my pictures and you
okay.
notice, I have right here and right here. So I have scars from piercings in my face. I have permanent scars on my face from having facial piercings. So I just like, I always discourage people from getting visible facial piercings, because eventually you get to be like me, which is where you get a little older, you take them out, except now I have a little hole right here and a little hole right here that will never fill in because of facial piercings. And so it looks like I have indents, you know, almost like acne scars, but they're not. They're from piercings that, you know, like they drove me nuts. I had to take them out. And now that, like, I have stage 3, stage 4 rosacea. So my face will progressively throughout my life become more and more deformed. And I'm very aware of symmetry in my face, because my nose on this side is now starting to have that bulbous effect that I'd never had, you know, just 3-4 years ago. So you have to you have to acknowledge that if you like get piercings in your face, or if your face isn't symmetrical, something like that, it just, you can let it bother you, or you can just be like, you know what, that's character, because I don't want anybody else to feel like about their face the way I feel about mine. And so when I hear you talk about your jaw, I hear you, because if you look at my photos, I'm always turned to the side, so you can't see the scars. I'm always, or my face is like at an angle, because then, you know, it minimizes like the shadow, because there's a shadow from the scar on my, you know, on that side. So like if I turn in a certain way, it looks like the side of my mouth is dirty, but it's not. It's it's a scar. So I understand where you're coming from about that. The symmetry, it affects how you look at yourself. It affects how you feel about the way you present yourself to the world. Sorry, I just talked over everybody.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, you're good.
No.
But I think that all kind of like, that is like all encompassing when it comes to this conversation, because I think I didn't even expect to go into like subconscious things that we do to align our, you know, presentational chakras, if you will. Like,
hold on, wait. Nakaya never told us what makes her feel beautiful.
Yes, let's get to you, girl, because I was about to ramble on about another point. Yeah, what you got going on over that hot stuff?
Good point. I don't know. I've always been cool.
Well, it must have been something, because you attracted that silver fox in the photo. So we.
Okay. Well, he called me at 25, so.
I love that. Because my older man has been put out to pasture. We ain't even gonna talk about that.
That's what actually got me. His waves. He used to have waves, and his waves was gray.
What is going on?
I mean, in spots. Like sprinkled. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, well, who the hell is you? But it's been a rough 2 years, so it was like nothing was sexy. Not even coming from him. But in the last 2 years, the day I put on my wedding dress for our 1 year vow renewal. Because when we actually got married, it was 3 months after my dad was murdered. And we just did it on the patio, on our deck. Wow. So we said we would have an actual wedding our 1 year, which was just July. And so it was when I put on that dress.
Wow.
So that's what like, look at here.
That's beautiful. You felt sexy after you put on that dress.
I put that dress on because I didn't think it was gonna fit right. Because that's a long story, but I put it on, and my makeup was fierce. I had a bomb makeup artist. She was a bomb. She's a pastor. I mean, she just got so many hats going on.
I thought she said Bob too at first. I was going to say, okay, Candace.
Oh,
Okay, I'm about to say, come on, Jada. Give it to us, girl.
Okay. No, she was the
Clock your
bomb.
references, Jordan.
Diggity. And yeah, that was then. So I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point where I can thank you, Gourmet.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to get to the point where I can look at myself in the mirror. Because even though I'm small,
Mm.
you ain't finna see me in no swimsuit model, or no, you know what I mean?
Were you in this
I ain't tall enough for that, but my body is not what society say it should be as far as fit. How about that?
So you felt sexiest,
I am
was it
battling
this
with that.
past July, you said?
Yes.
This past July.
Yeah.
What date, can I ask?
Huh? What date?
Yeah.
July 18th.
Ah, my birthday's the 14th and my best friend's is the 18th. So
Oh
no
wow.
worries. Yeah, we were born 4 days apart. We're still best friends. Yeah.
That's cool. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Mine is that's awesome.
Oh,
But
I'm
yeah,
so
that was
happy to hear
I'm
that
that.
was the
having
time. Now I
such
did feel a little sexy when I was in Puerto Rico, because
Okay.
where we were, there's no body shaming, and if it is, you
Mm,
couldn't tell. You had the biggest of the biggest in the water and on the beach, and you had the
mm.
smallest of the smallest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was be who you are. All you seen was just smiles on everybody's faces, everybody partying. One part of the beach we were on, it was complete party, like complete party. We seen a guy pull up with a flatbed with a pool table on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you had big speakers everywhere. So yeah, I mean,
I love that.
but my first time in 2 years was that day.
You know, it's funny as far as feeling sexy goes in North America. When I go to different areas, I feel sexier everywhere else in the world than North America. I mean, I'm not large, I'm not small, I'm just average. But here, as being, size 10 or
Mhm.
12, like 8, 10, 12, depending on a good year or not, or whatever that means. Here, it's average. When you go over to different parts of the world, they make a woman feels like a woman or a man feels like a man. Like here, unless you're that Vogue cover girl, you're taught not to feel sexy, and that's why I'm so celebrating I'm trying to get my sexiness there. But listening to all your stories, I'm really encouraged by it, and I thank you guys for
Good.
sharing. And thank you, Jordan, for having this topic, because it's really, really important for all of us.
Listen, I need it myself because I'm
Yeah.
battling with some of those same things too, except I'm battling from the opposite perspective. Like,
You're
I'm coming
going.
as somebody who I used to be a bulimic
Mm.
because I wanted to be super skinny back in the day, and now seeing myself as too skinny is triggering for me.
You're
Um,
you're a slender person,
that's
yes.
one of the Yes, I am. And but I used to be very active in that to be as rail thin as possible, right?
Got it.
And now looking at myself, if I feel like I look too thin, I feel bad. Like it's weird. Like I feel sickly. Like it's called like it's almost like I'm having like a reverse eating disorder moment where
No,
it's like now it's like if I look too skinny, like I go on eating binges and like it's just weird. Like I'm trying to figure out the psychology of how
I
I see
don't
myself physically
well, I
right
don't
now
see you from anything from what your pictures now. You look healthy from
from right
like
here.
yes. I mean, you look
I know that. I know
wholesome
how
in the
that is.
face. Like I mean, like wholesome, I mean just like in a good positive way.
Baby, them
and
thirst traps
healthy.
on Instagram definitely give me slim thick with your cute ass.
Those
Okay.
abs.
Say it again, Joe.
Go,
Say it
Joanna.
again.
But I
But
think
it's
it
because
all
I'm
has a
gaining
lot to do.
weight. Like I'm gaining weight. Like I feel great. Like I see things
Good.
jiggling and moving now. I'm pinching stuff and stuff is and like I'm actually holding on to stuff. I'm like I'm seeing stuff moving. I'm seeing rolls and folds and stuff. I'm happy over here. Honey?
Yes.
Like I'm actually seeing an ass now. Like I'm so pretty proud. Do you hear me? But it's just but it's also
It's
like
great.
it's weird because I, as a black woman, like I'm encouraged to be thick, honey. When I'm like too small,
Ah,
it's like, girl, you sickly. What's going on? Had you a biscuit? Had some grains? Go have a whole ham hock. Like, girl,
Yeah,
what's
I hate
going on
that.
with you? Is you all right? Is you depressed? Is you going through it? Right? So
Right.
that's been like the story of my entire life. And then when I realized I just couldn't really gain weight like that, I just went towards like my obsession with fashion, and then I went the opposite way, and then I became a bulimic to be rail thin because it ended up getting me into modeling. So, and
ah.
now I'm breaking out of that, and it's like now as I'm getting older, I want to not necessarily like be like thick, but it's like I just want to be thicker, and I don't want to look rail thin, and like my thigh gap haunts me. That sounds so fucking privileged, but it's
No,
No,
no.
that
I'm
makes
just being
sense.
I
No,
honest.
that makes
Really?
sense because when
find it.
I started losing weight after my weight loss surgery, I got so thin that like because I mean you can kind of see like I have the line right here, the collarbone line that for
Like
me
the gauntness
is
in the neck. Yeah.
it's that's how I can always tell when I'm getting too thin is I get that line. I mean, I start to this is I apologize if this is like offensive to say, but this is how I have been referred to by people as like looking like a Holocaust victim because I got so thin. So and you start to look
Mm,
sick. You do. You start to look like something is wrong. So when you
hmm.
get really really thin, you're like oh you're just bones covered with skin. So it's when
Yeah.
you can at the same you can be too you can be too big, you can be too little. So you have to it's about finding a happy medium.
And I think that's one thing that I was going to touch on just a minute ago when Andrea was talking. Like, that is something that I found going to school with a lot of white girls who were well off and
Mm,
were thin, and they were fucking miserable because their
yeah,
family was like, ew, you gained 5 pounds. You're a 4 now?
yeah,
And me being size 16 at the time, I was like, bitch, you look good. Your family is crazy. Fuck them.
yeah,
And it's such a difference in a lot of ways in the way black people treat weight and the way white people look at weight.
yeah.
Yes.
That's
That
true.
nuance that we keep talking about.
Exactly. So it can be, oh yeah, I need to lose weight because I'm fat. And a girl could be a size 8 versus
Yeah,
me saying I need to lose weight because I'm fat and being an 18. And her people being like, yeah, you right, you do need to lose weight. And
yeah,
my people being like, girl, you got all the curves in the right places. What your doctor say? Your blood pressure good? Are you pre-diabetic? Oh no. Okay, you good then, girl. No, you good.
yeah.
You think you good.
What
And
I'm,
and I'm gonna be a devil's advocate in a sense on that, as far as my name is naturally Nakaya. I
ah,
think
Go
people
off,
should
honey.
actually
here we go.
I
No,
think
this
people
is
should
good.
actually say you should be a healthy size, because you can be healthy and have some meat on your bones, and you can
Mm-hmm,
be healthy
Mm.
and not have much meat, but
Right.
mm-hmm.
it could be the total opposite too. You know what I'm saying? You could be I remember my mom, when I was going to the gym big time, she was like, what do you need to go to the gym for? And I'm like, so my heart can keep pumping nice. What do you mean? Like,
Right.
I'm small don't mean I don't need to get this blood pumping on a daily basis. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then some people lose weight and
100%.
they're not losing it healthy. They're just not eating,
Like
you
me.
know.
Yeah.
And okay, so we're gonna have to get the whip on you too.
I mean, like, nah, not now. Like back then, it was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, girl, you look good. You done lost weight. I can see your collarbone. It was like, bitch, I was starving because I had no food.
Yeah.
This is not cute.
And
It might be cute to
that
you,
wasn't
but
healthy. Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and then you have, I mean, on the like Nakaya, what you're saying is so true, because like I fluctuate now between like a 6 and an 8, you know, and I mean, but I struggle to not be malnutritioned because I had weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
My body literally cannot absorb the vitamins and nutrients that it needs to maintain it, just being healthy, being a well person, because I reoriented my internal organs so that I could be thinner. And so
Okay, so I'm sorry.
I was healthier when I was bigger. I was healthier when I was bigger than I am now. And but I can't undo it because the damage is permanent.
What's permanent? What do you mean your body cannot absorb?
So I had what's called a Roux-en-Y, which is literally where they cut your stomach into down to the size of an egg. And then they cut your intestines and they reattach your intestines from lower down in the intestinal tract to the smaller stomach. And you still have the larger stomach and the higher up part of the intestines inside your body, but it makes your intestines look like a Y. So the stomach that gets food is very small, but where but food actually, the vitamins and nutrients gets absorbed in your intestinal tract. So if you eliminate parts of your small and large intestine and food no longer goes through there, then the vitamins and nutrients aren't being absorbed because they're not going through that part of the body anymore. And so for me, I have to take supplements. I have to take a multivitamin. I have to take those things. My hair falls out. I mean, my skin, my nails are brittle and they flatten and start to get like lines in them and stuff. I mean, I literally have had my toenails fall off because I got so malnutrition. Yet I looked great and I was getting compliments, left, right, and center because, oh, you're so thin, you look amazing, all this. But I literally cannot eat enough. And even if I can eat, I can't eat the vitamins and nutrients that my body needs just to maintain a proper state of health. And so size has very little to do with whether or not you're actually healthy.
Exactly.
It has very, very little to do with that. I mean, I didn't have hypoglycemia before I had surgery, but I do now. I didn't have to worry about eating a cookie putting me in bed for an entire day because I had a fig Newton. I had to spend 10 hours in bed because it made me sick. But that's my life now. And I didn't have to worry about that when I was bigger, but that's my life as a thin person. So I don't, being thin doesn't mean health.
I think you can,
sorry.
Of course you can't go back because of what you just said is so traumatizing. But when you say, and I don't want to get off the subject too much, but this is like what I do. So you kind of hit something.
Hey, I'm all for hearing it.
So when you get your supplements, like your vitamins, do you do like protein shakes and things of that nature?
So I am not able to tolerate a lot of them because I would have to take them in such large amounts in order to be able to tolerate them. So for me, I take a multivitamin, but I also have to get tested regularly. I have to have regular blood tests and stuff like that because of the fact that I have to have, a blood count done. I have to have an A1C done to check my to check my glucose levels. I have to have,
Hold on a second. I don't want you to get too far from what I'm trying to ask you.
Okay.
So your supplements, like your vitamins, are you getting those over the counter, or are you going like the Walmart or Walgreens?
So I used to, and I had prescriptions when I very first had the surgery, and then I started with the over the counter stuff. but Johns Hopkins, because that's who did my surgery, gave me a very specific list of these brands in these amounts for these specific ingredients. And it was overwhelming, until I finally realized that I just needed to, it's trial and error, honestly. You have to take things until you find what makes you feel good. But
I have a solution for that. That's what I'm getting at. The vitamins that I get, okay, so the vitamins that everybody get, anybody that's getting any vitamins, they're getting them off the shelf for the most part, 99.9% of the time. Those are not fully, what's the word I want to use? They don't have the full value of nutrients in them that they're supposed to have because they're on a shelf. So they're watered down for shelf life. The vitamins I have is made to order. So you get exactly what it says you're going to get. And they work amazing. My aunt was going to be forever taking cholesterol pills because that was just in her DNA. She started taking these vitamins, and in a month time, because each box is a 30-day supply, she went back to the doctor and he said, "What are you doing?" So she showed him the vitamins, and she no longer has to take those calcium, cholesterol, calcium, one or the other, some with a C. And now he is a part of the wellness club. He takes those same vitamins. They are a lot. So what I do is I crush them up and I put them in my protein shake. So if I go in the morning, I'm running, forgot to eat, I can just crush those vitamins up, put them in a protein shake, and that will give me all the nutrients I need versus a big, huge breakfast. Like these vitamins are amazing, y'all. But I don't want to get too far off. But when she was saying that, because they rearranged your body, like they rearranged your insides, and
all
it was
in the name of being
not
thin.
that necessary.
I heard about that. People were like, "Hey, why don't you get this surgery?" And my Virgos often, and I literally have to research everything. Somebody's like, "You should try this." I'm like, "Okay, I'll see." And then I go research it. And then I researched that. I was like, "Bitch, are you daft? Like, why would I? No, like, I'm good." Like, my levels are good. Every time I go to the doctor, they like, "You need to lose weight," but aside from that, you healthy. Like, we get outside and play with the kids when we have family activities, and my much thinner cousins be out of breath. And who, my ankle hurting, girl? Give me a moment. I'm like, I'm the fat one though. What you need a moment for? So
see, when I had
be
going
healthy
into it
for you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that's what I've had to kind of ingrain into my head. It's like, yeah. And there are, it's like, yeah, I need to eat a certain way. I'm not finna sit around binging on shit that I know I shouldn't have. But at the same time, I'm not finna beat myself up if I want to have some spoonfuls of Nutella on top of an ice cream sundae.
Of course
like,
not.
nah.
No, and you shouldn't have to. That's the thing. You should not have to say, "I cannot have this." Like,
denying yourself anything is never going to make you happy. It's like when you hear about
just a healthier
there's
way
a YouTuber that would talks a lot about special diets and always saying, "Oh, I'm looking forward to my cheat day." And it's so, I'm like, oh God, please don't do that, because it's so bad. Denying yourself anything makes you want it more. So the better thing to do is just, you know what? I always want candy. Always want candy. I can't have it, but I always want it. But the moment I have candy in my house, I'm okay. I don't need it because it's there. It's once I realize that I can't have it because it's not here, then it's like, oh, I gotta have it, you know? So I think a lot of people do that stuff. It's like we binge and purge on the things that make us feel good. So if we use food or, you know, sweets or alcohol or whatever to make us feel good, then we're going to binge on that as long as we feel like it's in, you know, there's scarcity.
Getting back to the self-love part of the conversation, for me, that was exactly what the fuck I had to learn. Like, you can put your happiness in whatever else you want to put it in. If it ain't inside you, something or someone else is always going to have control over that. For mine, it's been food, it's been people, it's been stuff. And Solange's song Cranes in the Sky hits me every time I hear it. It's like, baby, you was going through some shit, and I feel you because I was going through the same shit. Like,
100%.
You can't run it away. You ain't going to work it away. You ain't going to sex it away. You ain't going to drink it away. You ain't going to smoke it away, because at the end of the day, there's never going to be enough stuff to feel whatever is in you that's missing, that you're trying to get out of anything external, because it's an internal problem.
Mm-hmm.
And until you fix that, you can go eat as many cookies as you want to. You still gonna be miserable. You can go have as many people love you as you want to. You can be in a room full of people that love you. If you still don't love you, you still in the room by your damn self.
And I can speak to that, child. Yes, God.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
But
kind of what I had to be like, all right,
That was profound.
you need to sit around yourself and learn to like yourself. Like, I'm a people person and I'm good with people. I'm great around people. I can be super friendly. But there was a time where I did that so I wouldn't have to sit with myself, because I didn't like myself.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, but there's also an opposite to that where it's like, all right, there are times where I also isolate because I was depressed as fuck. So it's like, all right, you do need to learn to sit with yourself, but also don't go so far into the other spectrum that you're isolating yourself to get away from people, because that's not good either. Like, you need to learn to be able to be comfortable sitting with yourself. They say self-love is the best love. Like, it's very cliche, but it's a big ass fucking fact.
Yeah, because people just say it and they don't apply it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I mean,
Right.
there's a study. I mean, it must have come out 15 years ago, but it was a research study on this, and it was actually talking about how most people cannot stand in a silent, empty room and look at themselves in the mirror, literally look at themselves in the eye for 10 seconds. Most people can't do that. Just sit there and silently look. No music, no makeup, not putting on your makeup or washing your face or brushing your teeth, just standing in front of their own bathroom mirror to look at themselves. Still
Child,
and
why
silent.
would you
Most people can't do
I need
that.
some music today. No, I'll just
But it's true though. Most people, it's like people who I think a lot of people, they use external factors to as you said, Joanna, to fill the holes they have inside.
And society has a lot to do with it too. Like, society is telling you need to look this way and this way, but people be like, I wish I was your size, baby. Yes, I'm small, blah blah blah, la la la, but I have to wear something to flatten his stomach out a little bit. Sorry, because I can eat. I might be small, but I can eat. And I put a lot of protein and vitamins and things of that nature that blows up in you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And
we want what we can't have because we're not good with what we already got.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
you
let's
got
Exactly.
to
talk
get
about
to a place where you're not necessarily, okay, all I got is all I'll ever want. Because I would never be, yeah, no, I would never. But you have to be able to be content with saying, this is me. This is what I have. These are my curves. I love these things about myself. There's always going to be something about you that you may not like. Either fix it or learn to love it.
I was just about to say
Mm-hmm.
either do something
And
about it or just love it.
and we have to remember that up until like 200 years ago, nobody thought being skinny, rail thin was beautiful. Look at all the paintings. Look at the world the way it was. Being having curves as a woman, and we're talking about sexiness, has it's in our DNA. All of us
Yeah, they
around
used to
the
crush
world.
they insides with them corsets.
Oh,
Yeah,
baby, I
that
could give
well,
you some
that's
stories about some
200.
corsets.
That's within
Girl.
the 200 years. That's within the 200 years. But before
I
that,
know.
that's a colonial kind of dumb thing. But before that, you look the Rubenesque paintings, the Italians, whatever. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
was like thin as a rail. Thin as a rail, honestly, meant you didn't have food.
yeah.
In some ways it wasn't revered. And I'm not saying like what you're saying with those corsets, that was a fashion within, okay, 203, maybe 300 years ago, absolutely, maybe even 400. But before that, the evolution of time, sexiness was not being what's on Vogue page right now.
Oh no, not at all.
And
No.
not necessarily even sexy. Way, way back then, it
Yep.
was much more primal. Because
Mm-hmm.
men
Yes.
would
Yep.
look at a female and say, all right, yeah, you have nice hair. You have long hair, long, thick hair. That means you, all right, you healthy. You got
Yes.
nice wide hips. That means, all right, great. You can have kids and it's not going to be difficult for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes.
primally, that was what men were looking at. And then it went from being that to being, this is what you got to be beautiful. This is what you have to be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
So
fuck
But
that
look
shit.
at
is
but
primal.
look at what we consume even. I mean, like look at what we consume as women. Look at what's targeted at us. I mean, we all found each other based off of Real Housewives. These are women who
Mm-hmm.
in their 40s and 50s are spending tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on surgeries to make their bodies the way they were decades ago. And these are women who they do the fillers and the Botox and the boobs and the butt and the liposuction and the tummy tucks. And, then they spend all of the money on doing the hair and the makeup and all of the things. And it's just like we're watching these things, and yet who decided those beauty factors? Who decided that? Are we consuming content that tells us that we are smart and capable, that we're respected and valued? Or are we consuming content, that tells us that the only way to be pretty is if we have a man, or the only way to be pretty is if our boobs look like they did when we were 15? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to change what we consume in order to change the narrative we tell ourselves. And I don't mean
Exactly.
consume as in
I
food. I
think
mean
that
consume
comes
as
with
in the things we take into ourselves. I
yeah,
mean,
I
it's
think
like,
that comes with age too. Um, because me personally, I don't look at them heifers like, oh, I wish I could be. I'm looking at them like, child, you did not have to do all that. And
Mm-hmm.
entertainment just to laugh at them. You know what I'm saying? So I think that comes with individual and individual age, because I don't want to be like none of them. Like, I
Growth
really
is
don't.
definitely a part of it. And that
Huh?
is where I said growth is definitely a part of it. And that's where it comes into you knowing yourself and you loving yourself, period. Like, it doesn't matter what outside influences say. It doesn't matter, oh, well, this is the in style now. Like, I deal with a little bit of that now. because people are like, the trends are changing back to what they were. My daughter is now dressing in the exact same shit I used to wear when I was in high school, now that she's in high school. So now the wide leg, bell bottom type stuff coming in, people are wearing stuff a little looser. And I'm like, no, I like the way my ass sits and I like the way my thighs look in these high-waisted skinny jeans. So I'm going to continue to wear these high-waisted skinny jeans. Oh, they got these killer. I don't want that. But why don't you think you should? I don't want that. But it came from me saying, this is what I like on me, because I feel like my best self and I look like my prettiest self to me. And that's the person whose opinion I give the most a fuck about, because I had to get to that place versus letting external things and outside influences change the way I saw myself or what I wanted for myself or how I viewed myself. It's all about being grounded and rooted in who you are and loving that person, no matter how nappy or hairy is that day, no matter how big your stomach look, no matter what you got going on in that particular situation. I love the fuck out of me. I look raggedy today, but I still love the fuck out of my raggedy wide body ass though.
It's funny. I mean, obviously, I have two girls. I have a daughter who's 20 and I have a daughter who's 5, and I realize, like, teaching my girls about loving themselves is more than just telling them you're beautiful and you're smart and you're funny. It's about showing them in how I talk to myself, how I talk about myself. And so I've really, really tried to not put myself down in front of my daughters, because I don't want my daughters to do that about themselves. And like the other day, I was, sitting in the kitchen with my 5-year-old, and I was playing a bunch of music and everything, and I was sitting there just listening to all the different music and realizing that I gravitate towards music that lifts people up, that's inspiring. And I gravitate towards positive messages because I want to set that example for my daughters. And I started internalizing that. So even the things that I listen to that I enjoy now tend to be more positive, because I started to want to lead by example to my girls. And that changed my own internal narrative.
Putting that positivity inside yourself, I'm finna veer off into spirituality a little bit, is way more important than most of us realize. I didn't realize it until I actually started doing it and I saw the impact it had on me. And I was like, damn, like I literally tricked myself into feeling like I was the shit, and now I feel like I'm the shit for real.
So I lead my daughter's Girl Scout troop. And yesterday we had our meeting, and we were talking about ways to communicate using without using words. And one of the end of the lesson in the book was about how, like, when we act a certain way, it can literally change our mood just by, fake it till you make it. So by having the girls act like they were sad, they started to feel kind of sad, even though they weren't. They were pretending. But once I had them act happy and act excited and, actually get like that, oh, yay, and jump up and down and dance around, suddenly they started to feel happy. They started to feel excited. Even though it was a game of pretend, it literally changed the way these little girls felt. And
because your brain does not know the difference, which is why positivity, speaking positive words over yourself. I say multiple affirmations all day, and I had my daughter doing the exact same thing. And I noticed the difference in me. She noticed the difference in herself. She was like, Mama, like, because there will be times, she's 14, like I said, and she gorgeous child. Pretty hair, full of curly hair, She has the body I wish I had at that age.
Joanna, hold on 1 second, baby. I'm so sorry. But I'm kind of worried about one of the ladies in the chat. I hope she's still there. I would like to know what triggered her. She said she got triggered. Cause I don't want her to log off feeling like that.
Yeah,
I see it now. I'm sorry. I wasn't. I don't have the chat up because I'm looking at all your faces. Denise, right?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up. I have a hard time figuring out how to address those situations because sometimes sometimes I'm the person who has trouble dealing with that amongst people with as far as like my trigger goes. So like sometimes it's better for me to deal with things in private, and then sometimes if I'm too triggered can lead to damage in private.
Yeah,
So
true.
I never really know how to address that. So I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to like put it on blast and like make her feel worse about it or like make her talk about something that she was already
That
triggered
makes
by.
sense.
But then
That makes sense. It
I
kind of
also
like hit me.
appreciate your perspective too.
I mean,
It
I
makes
may not be
complete
able to
sense
help, but
my
what you
position
just
on
said
that.
made a whole lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Because that goes back to I may not be the person that can have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? I just when she
Yeah,
said
but I
trigger, I know I
appreciate you
was
checking on her.
yeah, it was the word trigger, and I know the type of space your channel provides, and I never want anybody to leave your channel triggered. You know what I'm saying? It was the
Yeah.
word. So
Yeah, I completely understand that. And I've had it happen before where it's like we've just gotten into conversations because we veer off into greater conversations pertaining to a
right.
topic where it can go into a place where you didn't expect it to. And so I completely understand it. Um,
Yeah,
I
it
just
has happened to
apologize
me before.
for
Not on
that.
your channel, but on a different channel. It has
Yeah.
happened to me. So I totally
It's
get
happened to me while I'm on live on my own damn channel.
But
Oh
you know the
So
way
it's
you done
like,
pulled out them good old triangles, baby.
wow. Okay.
baby, I try to hold it together, child. Now I got a whole damn t-shirt laying over here. But
You can't
but
fold
I
them the
def
same.
I can't fold it the same, but sometimes I need the whole damn sometimes I just need to put the thing over my damn head and just be like, listen, girl,
I know that's
I
real.
can't we just gonna get through these next three or four topics just like this because I'm not able to hold it together. So the only way my face
Right.
is gonna stay on my body is if I just lock it in this bag right now. Sometimes I gotta give it up like that for
Hey,
real. I'm
I
telling you,
would like
sometimes
to
I feel like
know. Remember you had a live and Gourmet
it.
Thursday was on from South
Hmm.
Africa. I wonder if she's
Hmm.
still in there in the chat.
Uh, she was in one of
Remember
my
her?
lives earlier today.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in my live earlier today, and she subscribed to me today, so that was great. I'm happy that she liked my content enough to continue to come through. But
Thank you, Gourmet. Side note, if y'all haven't liked, smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already so we can get these views up and get
Okay.
this visibility going so the rest of the world can heal right along with our beautiful asses.
I know that's real.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry,
and
Joanna.
to
I'm sorry to cut you off. That just
No, you good. I appreciate you for doing it because I wasn't looking at the chat at all. Like I was looking at y'all and focused on what we was talking about at the moment.
yeah,
But
I
like,
can only
right,
I got it on my phone. That's the only way. I can see, but I can't comment without my phone.
right.
You know
yeah,
what
Yeah,
I mean?
Denise,
but I
fuck them people from back then. By the way, if you give me their addresses, I'll go bing bing bop bop 'em still if you want me to.
season
Because
elected
I
official, she
feel like
got
there are
pulled like
so
that.
many things that happen when we're young and we don't
Yes.
Hmm.
always realize how much it plays into the way that we do things and the way that we think when we super grown, I've seen that in so many of my family members, and I'm like, baby, like heal. Like it's much easier to say, yeah, just go heal that shit than it is to actually do it. Speaking as a person who has
Yeah.
miles, like airline miles of childhood trauma that I've had to work through and that I'm still working through. The
Yeah.
smallest things that people say to you, thinking, oh, it wasn't even that deep, it wasn't even that important, I ain't even mean it like that, and then sometimes they do mean it like that, will stick with you and affect you in such negative ways. So I completely understand where she's coming from. Fuck them people, baby. You are beautiful
Mm-hmm.
in your own skin, whatever size you are. Because you got people who want to be real thin. You got a lot of people who want to be smaller, just like you got people who want to be a little bit thicker.
Mm-hmm.
You have to love who you are and what you have and how you're beautifully made. Because
Amen.
nothing
Out
about
to
you
her.
was a mistake, sweetheart. Not the curl of your hair or the sway of your hip or the size of your areolas. Like you
The pancakes.
know exactly who you want to be, and the
I'm
things that you have that you don't like because you don't like them, learn to love them or adjust them to your liking. The
Yep.
person that's on the inside of you is the person that matters, and the outside is going to match your inside as much as you want it to. If
Mm-hmm.
something doesn't match, adjust that to your liking, but let it be because that's what you truly want. And that's what's the most true to you.
Yes, you
And
gotta have
not
them
because
blinders
people
on.
told you shit.
You gotta have them blinders on like them race horses.
I think I'm looking back up to what she said about like things that were said to her when she was growing up. I think we all kind of go through that. And as we get older and as we approach, well, where I am, middle age, and earlier I said we have to set boundaries in our lives. And I think that is the number one act of self-care that you can do is setting boundaries, especially with people who society kind of gives you the pressure of you have to have them in your life. You know, society tells us that we have to love our family. We have to, have them around. We have to stay in touch with childhood friends and all of those things. But those are often the people that cause the most harm. So
Right.
as you get older, as you get an adult, it is okay to draw that line in the sand and say, this is it. If you cross this, you're done. Like I cannot do this anymore. I mean, I'm like you. I have a lot of trauma from my childhood as well, and I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to hurt. I don't want anybody to. I don't want anybody to be triggered by anything that I might possibly say. So I'm just going to leave it at. There's a lot of stuff that I went through that as an adult in the last few weeks, even that I have had to draw lines in the sand to say, no, this pattern will not continue. I will no longer accept this from you. So either you respect my boundaries or we're going to have to just go our separate ways. I love you. I want the best for you. I want you to be happy, but that's not how you're treating me. And so that's my line in the sand,
It's
and
a
I
lot
think that
better than me, Kristen, because I'm not Zen Win in that way at this point in my life. I'm 34. I'll be 35 next year, and especially, well, only with adults. Bitch, you should be mature enough to know what you're doing. And if you still on that same bullshit, then fuck you. I'm not giving you no explanation. I'm not saying I love you. You can go burn in hell, like Candace told Karen, and take all of your bullshit attitudes with you. I don't have time You not finna interrupt my healing. You not finna ruin the good day that I was having. Fuck you. I'm not gonna talk. You finna get blocked on Facebook. I'm finna block your phone number. If I pass you in my car, I'm not gonna wave at you. I'm not gonna blow at you. I'm finna turn my music up and treat you like a ghost. Because that's all that you're worth to me at this point. Until you heal whatever it is that's in you that's causing you to treat me shitty, fuck you. Because I don't have time. I do not have, and that goes for anybody. I have a blood brother that I haven't spoken to since a week after our father passed. And I'm not going to until he gets his shit together.
Sorry,
Can
that
I
just
see?
what
And
it made
that's
me think
how
about
for
when she
me,
said no time. I just literally went to Lil Kim.
For me, I have, you know, a I have a family member that has just attacked, and I stepped away and then gave a second chance, and then I had to finally say, "You ruined it. Sorry, bye." But then,
Right.
you know, at the same time, like interacting with parents even can be difficult for adults to do, because parents are the biggest influence on our lives. They help form us. So if our parents cause problems, then as adults, I think we all kind of want to be redeemed in the eyes of our parents. So I think it's really hard to set those boundaries when it's with the people that created that harm, you know, because so much of who we are is based off of who we were raised to be. And if who we were raised to be was someone that would knuckle under, you know, because somebody else wanted to treat us a particular way, then setting those boundaries as an adult, that's the greatest act of self-love that we can demonstrate, is saying that,
Yeah.
you may have done that to me when I was too young or too naive or just not strong enough in my own will, but now I am. And I will not allow you to behave that way towards me, towards my children, towards my spouse, towards people that matter to me anymore. So setting those boundaries is the number one thing that I truly think that we can do to demonstrate to ourselves that we are deserving of positivity and love, and having people in our lives who negate that, who diminish it, who, in order to make themselves feel big, they have to make us feel small. That's the hardest thing to separate from yourself, is the people that have been in your life for most of your life. And then to say, you know what? I have 40 years behind me of you not respecting my boundaries. Stops today. That's hard. That is so hard.
That's where the
So hard.
self-love comes
Is
in.
it possible?
Right.
Because I've tried that, and in my lifetime it won't work. My parents are well into their 80s, and I've tried to have those boundaries, but family's family, and I'm at the point where I'm turning 50, my parents are in their 80s, and I look at the point that those boundaries, they will always step over, and I have to embrace these last maybe 5 years, 10 years, and just enjoy who they are. And it's come a long, long way. And after they're passed, then I will deal with those boundaries that were never made, because some parents respect boundaries. Like, I have some friends that have it, but my parents don't, and that's how they're built. And
I
it's
can
just,
tell you from experience, Andrea.
yeah, go ahead.
Once they're gone,
Yeah.
it becomes more difficult. There are conversations that I wanted to have with my father when he was still alive that I never had, because I kind of felt the way that you do. Like, he old. I don't know how many more years he got left. He's sick now. I ain't gonna bother him with that. He's set in his ways. I'm just let him be him. I'm not gonna confront him about all of this shit that he did that hurt me and still has me in a certain place in my life decades later. And I hated that I wasn't able to get that out to him and get some resolve for those issues before he died. And it
Yeah.
was really, really difficult to work through because after they gone, you have to think about the fact that, well, shit, I can't. What's the point of me being angry at him now? I can't go scream at him and be like, you did this to me, you did this to me, you did this to me. They ain't even here.
And Joanne, I appreciate that. It's really with my mom who's stubborn. My dad and I are very cool. I kind of misrepresented that part. It's my mom, and my mom and I have gone through that. And my mom and I are like oil and vinegar. You know how there's some, you know how sometimes you just don't click with one parent and you click with another. I just don't click with my
I'm
mom.
like that with my mom.
And my mom and I, since I was born, I never fit my mom's idea. She wanted to relive her childhood through me, and it screwed me up. Not screwed me up, but if I wanted to do this, she wanted me to do that, and that's fine. It's she listen. She was born during a war. She never had a childhood. I understand that as an adult, but as a child growing up, she wanted to. It's complicated, and we all have complicated um, parts in our lives. And my relationship with my mom is very, very complicated. And I wish the best for her. She's not going to change. She's 85. I'm 50. Or 50 next month. Or next year. I'm not going to change myself. It's just tough. It's tough when you
Yeah.
never see eye to eye with a parent, and
But
when
if you
know.
stood up to your mom,
I've
like,
stood up
I
to
mean,
her many times. Oh,
No,
many.
it's I think I know what she's saying because I have that
You
same
can't standing up
similar
to a
relationship
parent.
with my mom.
Yeah, when you stand up to a parent, and I've done that to my mom in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s, and now going into my 50s, it has different results at different times. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just when you have a parent who is broken themselves and
Mm-hmm.
loves you the best that they can in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
It's I know my mom loves me, and in my way my mom knows that I love her, but she has a whole lot of hurt that she never dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I stand up to her, if she hasn't figured out herself in her way, it just doesn't. You just have to sometimes love each other from afar, and
And
that's
that's that boundary though. Like a
Yeah,
boundary
I was
doesn't have
thank
to
you,
be
Joanne.
you
yeah,
completely Xing them out your life and
fair
never
enough.
speaking to them
Yeah,
again in life. Like it can be
yeah,
okay,
yeah, true.
since you have that props, you got an attitude problem right now. You're having a negative effect on my mental health. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave the house. I'm gonna get off the phone. I'm gonna give you a week, and
Oh,
then I'll hit you up
yeah.
and see if you still got the same attitude, or I'll hit you up tomorrow and see if you still got the same attitude. And if you still do, all right, apparently you need a little bit more time.
Mm. My
So
I
mom,
until you
I
figure
think
out
it's
that,
more if I'm reading it right, if I'm
mm,
hearing right, I should say. I think I'm understanding what you're saying, Andrea, because
mm-hmm.
with my mom, I have to put the blinders on. That's my boundary. Because
Yeah,
there is no,
yeah,
well, if I don't talk to you for a week, I'm going to need to see how you is. Because I already know in a week she's still going to be that same way.
yeah,
I
yeah.
already know it. Now,
We have the same mom.
We might get along on a Tuesday. And then Tuesday at 12. And then she got to say something Tuesday at 5.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay,
yeah,
well, I ain't
yeah, I do.
speaking. I need to stay away. But when I'm around her, I have to put, like I said,
Blinders.
them blinders on, like them racehorses.
Yeah,
I got to stay focused because I
yeah,
don't want to disrespect you because I've done that in the past and that was not cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I do.
I don't want to ever go there. I just rather be able to just leave or just stay away or just put I'll go at the house. Oh, here go mama. So I'm going straight to the kids.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I ain't about to deal
Yes.
with that. I'm going to let you go
Yes.
ahead and argue with yourself. You know what I'm saying? So,
No,
So Andrea, I think maybe if I share a little more of what I was talking about, then it'll help you kind of figure out what I mean. So I'm going to give a trigger warning to anybody. If you have childhood trauma where a child being hurt is something that is going to trigger you, I'm just going to tell you guys right now that I'm going to share a few details that are going to be bothersome. So that's my trigger warning. So my entire childhood, my mother never hurt me, but she was there and allowed other people to do so. Because of the fact that there was, there was other people in my life that some overlap, but not always, of people who would hurt me. And I was a child. My mom knew about it, but she had her reasons for allowing that to continue. Now, as an adult, all these years later, all these decades later, having my mom come at me and tell me that she disapproves of something I say or of something I do, I don't care. I don't care because my values are different, because I have children and I would never allow anyone to treat my child the way my mother allowed people to treat me. So when my mom came at me after I had another incident with a family member, and my mom came at me after that and once again took their side over mine, and I lost it. I mean, I was screaming, cussing. I hung up on her like 4 times because I was like, no, I'm done. And I finally was like, you know what? How many times do I have to go through this in my life? How many times in my life do I have to forgive without an apology? How many times in my life do I have to accept that people are going to use the worst things that I have ever been through and use that to score points against me, and you're going to defend them and tell me that I'm wrong for saying, stop hurting me, for that I'm wrong? So I had to literally just go, you know what? I don't want that family member in my life, because obviously they have their own issues and I hope they get the help they need, but they need to do it far away from me. But for my mom, I flat out said, I don't want anything in my life to do with you. Don't send me Christmas presents. Don't send me birthday cards. Don't call me. Don't text me. Nothing. We're done. Because I cannot have someone who will co-sign the abuse others would heap on me because it works for you. And so I had to set that boundary. And I mean, when I say this is very recent, I mean, my mother turned 60 3 days ago, and I did not talk to her on her birthday. I did not speak to her on her birthday. I talked to my dad. My dad said, do you want to talk to your mom? And I said, no, absolutely not. And it's because of the fact that I had to say, no, you can't keep doing this to me. You have to stop. I am not okay with it. You can't allow people in our family, in my life, to use the information they have only because we're family, and then use that against me as to weaponize my own pain against me. And so I had to set that boundary, and it's really, really hard. And I'm still going through it every day. It's hard. I even told my husband, I was like, is this spiteful? Am I being mean?
You're not.
It's because it's hard to set those boundaries. And then it is hard to enforce them when you're so used to not.
Well, it's ironic. Today is my mom's birthday, and that you say that's on there. And I really appreciate what you're saying to me. And
I think it's individual boundaries.
Yeah.
What your boundary is may not be
No, that's fine.
I'm just saying, anybody, you have to, your boundary has to, you have to be comfortable with the boundary that you set.
Right.
It's true,
You
but
have to. You
when
can't set a boundary like me. You may not be able to put the blinders on.
no,
You may not, huh?
but it's when you set a boundary, the repercussions of the boundary on the other person is there too. So, for example, I set a boundary for my mom that I can't do this, this, and this. That hurts her boundary, which in turn hurts me because I'm hurting my mom. Even though
Right,
it's
but
good for
it
no,
hurts.
I understand it completely. I'm just saying, I understand
And the
intellect
age of your mom
and
at
in my
this point
soul,
too.
but in my heart, you you never want to hurt the people that care about you. And even though what you're doing is for the betterment of you, it still hurts. And my
Yeah, but
I
mom,
know for
my mom
I
will
think
never
what
understand
Joanna
why.
said is probably more where you should be leaning to, as far as you're gonna need to get whatever you need to get out when it comes to your mom now before she goes.
like I know for me.
But
I'm sorry, Nakaya. I didn't mean to interrupt you again.
No, I was done. I was done with my sentence.
I was gonna say I know for me, like I was abused as a child, and my mom turned a blind eye to that because that person helped us financially. She knew I was being abused, but she was,
I can see why you
financially
do
benefiting from that. So it was it's like one of those situations. She's never going to admit that that was wrong. She's never going to, because she never has. This isn't the first time I've said something.
I think your boundary fits the situation.
Whereas like the other family member, that my mom took their side in, it's like that person, there's no point in even having a conversation to even set the boundary with that person, because there's no, just having any exposure to them, it's like a raw nerve. So I mean, you have to set a boundary that fits the dynamic that's there. And unfortunately, then at the same time, it's hard. I wake up, like I said, I wake up every day and I'm like, okay, but maybe it's mean. Maybe I'm being mean, and I should, maybe I should call her. Maybe I should call her. But then I have to remind myself, if I call her, what does that say? It says that, that boundary, I wasn't serious about it. And I think that the best thing that I can do is say, no, I won't allow that in my life, because it doesn't help me. It hurts me. And I think you have to acknowledge, do what helps you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Do what helps you in whatever way helps you. And if you're not sure, that's what therapy's for.
Yeah. Oh, I've been in therapy many, many years, but yes, I agree with you. What you're saying, Kristen, reminds me of me about 10 years ago. I was having that angst, and for now, with my mom especially, my dad and I, we have a rock solid and daily affirmation with each other. My mom and I just wish on some days like today, it's her birthday, that, I wish for her that we could be more loving towards each other openly. But I realize that will never happen, and I'm okay with it. It's just on sweet days like this, I wish it was different, but it's not
And it
always
might,
it's
you
not
never
always in the
know.
cards. It's not because it takes
I
two to
mean,
tango, and it's never going to be. My mom is a stubborn, and I can be stubborn. No, but she really, and she had to be stubborn because she left home as a war-torn child at 12. She left, and she's been on her own as a 12-year-old since then. So she's had to be stubborn, and I respect that of her.
So she
And
never even really was taught
no,
how to love you properly.
no, she was
And she
never
did
taught
not
to
have
love
a childhood.
Yeah, well, yeah, she wasn't even loved properly herself.
No,
Right.
she had to leave home at 12 because of conditions. She lived in a potato field for a year. Like she bopped around Europe until she came to North America. And no, she never had a normal childhood, and that's why I'm always very sensitive to people who are immigrating from war-torn countries, because no one ever really wants to leave their own home, like their own home nation. It's not a choice unless you're a billionaire, or you're because of work related when you're older. But when you're young, you don't no one ever wants to do that. No one ever wants to leave all their family and friends, and that it just, life doesn't work that way. So
Yeah.
I feel for my parents. Like, my dad was in a similar situation, but he had it, his attitude is different and his family's attitude is different. But my mom's, yeah, it's tough. It's really tough when you have a parent who you see the trauma in them, and you can't help them, and
Mhm.
they can't help themselves because those tools were never in their lives. So, yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is that your mom has had the tools because you have the tools. She's 85 years old. So she has had those tools for so many years and chose not to use them. There's
I don't agree
the
with
term,
that. You don't know my
the
mom. I'm sorry. You don't know my mom, and
Yeah.
she never had the tools. She never had a conventional life to grow up. She had the tools to survive, and that's the only tools she needed until she's now. Those tools don't happen for everybody. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know your intentions are really well intended, but my mom never had the tools. Might have been around, but she never had the vision to see them, and that's the way it was meant for her. That's just the way it is sometimes.
Yeah, because some of us just break the chain.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was one that broke the chain. Cause
Good
my
for you.
sister up under me is just like my mom.
Yeah.
Like, so I get what both of you are saying. Christian, your situation is like,
mine
wow.
is very new, though. Mine is
No.
very
Yeah, but
new.
that the situation, I mean, how it started is not new.
No.
No, no.
Saying
But
I can get why you are at the point that you are at, and I can see how Andrea is at the point where she's at.
I
Andrew,
think
with you being in therapy the way that you've been, have you suggested that your mom go as well? Like, have you told her any of the things that you've learned, given her any of those coping mechanisms, had
Mm,
any of those conversations with her?
Yeah, me, yes, but they don't go anywhere. In fact, her doctor has told her that generation does not believe in therapy, and
yeah,
it
yeah.
and
yeah.
they come from a place where if you're put food on the table and you have a husband all your life and you play cards at the end of the night and have my mom has had her friends for the last she's 85. She's had her best friend for the last 70 years. And they're loyal, they ride or die, and they don't change. Like, her best friend has been for 70 years. That's long. And my parents have
Yeah.
been you know with each other for 65 years. They're not going to change. I'm i'm the one that's changing. I'm the
But
one
that's
that
good.
But
absolutely,
hopefully for the
absolutely.
better though.
Yeah.
And you have us.
Oh, yes, yes,
You got that right.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
There's
I've
a term I learned in therapy
mhm.
called a parentification. It's where a
Yeah,
child takes on the role of a parent,
yes.
Mhm.
and
I
they actually are emotionally more mature than the parent. The
I
parent
Mhm.
has
hear.
an immature, is emotionally immature. And so the child kind of has to grow up so fast, and then they end up taking care of their parent emotionally.
Mhm.
Not always, but so for me, like that's a lot of what I experienced. So I wasn't trying to project that onto you. I apologize for
not
that.
at all. Not at all.
Have your mom went? Have you shared any of the tools with your mom?
This is my mom has this as an education. So this was actually a profession. Like she professionally did a lot of this stuff for a few years, and my mother, like when I confronted her about some things, and it's never her fault. It's always, well, this happened and I made the best choice that I could. Sorry for how that worked out for you. And it's never her fault. It's always someone else's fault. And that lack of personal responsibility is something that for me is difficult, because I feel that when you disrespect other people and in, something, for example, my mom's one of the most basic things that gets on my nerves that my mother does is she does not value time. Other people's time. Her own, yes, but other people's, no. So like my mom would, let's say Andrea and my mom were friends, okay? Mm-hmm. They'd make plans to go to lunch. They're going to meet at 11 o'clock. Andrea, my mom's going to show up at 11:20 every time. Those 20 minutes of your time, I'm sorry I'm late. She's never going to tell you ahead of time that she's running late. She's never going to tell you that she's running a few minutes behind, but she's on her way. She's never going to tell you, like, you know what? I walked out the door late. Something just so small, but it matters.
Where did Jordan go?
That's very narcissistic, and that's out. And that's
yeah, facts we did. She'll be all right.
No can do.
I'm sure she don't mind. Whatever she doing, I'm sure she don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm sitting here grilling hot dogs and I'm talking to my family, honey. So I'm y'all feel, because I don't really I have a lot that I could contribute to this conversation, but I feel like it would be best served in a specific live for that. But I didn't want to cut off. Thank you. I didn't want to cut off the moment that y'all were having, and I wanted y'all to get, talk yourselves through that, because it was important that you have the space to really feel the full spectrum of those real emotions. And I'm glad that all the people involved here had somebody there that could help talk them through that. So I just kind of,
it's hard to deal with. It's hard to deal with all the stuff. Cause I mean, I sound calm now, but I promise you, tomorrow I'm not going to be calm. I'm going to be bawling my eyes out again. I'm going to be like, did I make a mistake? Is this the right thing? Because I care and I agonize, and it tears me apart over all this stuff, because I don't want to hurt someone, because I love my mom. I don't want to hurt her. And I know that forcing her to respect my boundary in her mind is hurtful. It's hard.
I've been there. You at your point right now in your life, it's ride or die for you mentally. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
You don't, and I've been there. Right now I'm not there, but I've been there and for a long time, and it's crucial for you to do that right now. Emotionally, your heart's going thud 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 thud, and it's heartbreaking, but right now I'm telling you from the future person of you, not you particularly, but you know what I mean. You need to know that.
You.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you know what I mean. What you're doing right now makes perfect sense, and you're not alone. And many, many women understand what you're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope to eventually get to a place where I can say what Nakaya said, that I broke the cycle, that I did not continue for my daughters what my, because I know that my mother continued. My mother was treated a certain way. She passed, and then she treated me a certain way. And then I have daughters. And so I hope that one day I can say what Nakaya said, that I broke the cycle. That's my hope. That's why I believe that the boundaries are so important.
And back to those boundaries too, like we said, the boundary that you set, you have to feel comfortable with.
Right.
And it has to be specific to your situation. Like,
Exactly.
even if it's the boundary of, while you are very emotionally invested because that's your mom, you have to have a surface relationship with her, because if you go into anything too deep, she's going to cut you too deep and that's going to hurt you. And you have to preserve yourself and your sanity, because your self-love, especially by somebody that's so dear to you as a parent, can be tainted by what you allow other people to do to you.
Wow. Yeah.
So even if it's a boundary of, okay, we ain't finna have no deep conversations, I'm not finna try to change nothing that you got to say. It's finna be high and by and what you eat and what did you watch and how was your day. All right, as soon as that, well, I think you. All right, girl, I'm talk to you tomorrow. I'm so sleepy, mom. I love you. Bye. Like, even if that's the boundary, you'll feel better about the situation within yourself, because you'll take some of your power back if you set a boundary and stick with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me, I know that, I mean, we're, like I said, my husband's in the military, so we don't live near family. We're on our own. We're in a flyover state on a military base. Our support system where I live is the friends that have become family. And, just like you have to take the good with the bad and everyone around you. So for me, when I say, like, I'm cutting my family, I'm cutting my mom off, it's not like I'm seeing her every day. I'm cutting her off and she has no access at all because I don't live near her. So she, it's not like she can just stop by. It's not like she can just pick up the phone because her number's blocked. It's not like she can send me a Facebook message because she's blocked, Like, she literally has no access now. That's how far I had to take the boundary in order to say, I'm not doing this.
And sometimes that's necessary, because sometimes if you say, well, I'm not going to talk to you about this anymore, I'm not going to do this, and you keep going and they keep going and you keep letting them, it's going to reinforce that negative behavior. So sometimes it has to be like, hey, I was serious. I'm not talking to you until you fix this shit. Or we're only talking about certain things until you learn. And that's another point that Kristen made, that your mom, and I've dealt with this with so many people in my family, because of so many people in my family had extremely difficult lives growing up as children, and they grew up quick as fuck, not by their choice, but because of the circumstances that they were in at the time, that in some ways they're still stuck in that trauma. And some people will heal from it and go on and be fine, and some people will stay stuck in it because sometimes it's more comfortable because it's what you know.
Yeah.
If this pain, this sense of depression is all that you know, I was too, Nakaya. If it's like, all right, I would rather have the devil that I know than the angel that I don't. And healing is not cute. The shit ain't fun. And it ain't easy, because it forces you to confront everything that scared you and hurt you and broke you in the first place.
Yeah.
Amen.
Denise, I saw your comment in the live chat, and I just want to tell you that I don't think that even cookie cutter families really and truly exist, because I know so many people that they grew up in those perfect suburban white picket fence houses, and you know what? That was only how it looked on the outside. On the inside, their lives were just as chaotic. They were going through their own stuff. It was just all hidden behind closed doors. You may not be aware of it, but trust me when I tell you that everybody has had to go through so much in their own lives. Very, very few people. The percentage of people who have actually had that cookie cutter lifestyle and actually grew up that way with, two parents and a colonial and a collie, like that life that's a fantasy. I don't think anybody in reality ends up growing up that way. You're talking like a infinitesimal percentage of the population that cannot relate to some trauma in some way. Children do wind up taking care. Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Totally do.
And lots of times, and it's because.
And it's mainly the main one they treated the worst. Sorry.
Man,
I totally agree with you. I was the oldest child. So for me, like in my family, the other kids were so small. I was the only one capable of taking care of stuff. And at the same time, though, like I was still a child. So now I'm an adult with kids of my own, and I have a child of my own that's now an adult. And I can see where things I've done have impacted my kids in negative ways. But the difference is that when I see it, if my child says to me, "You did this," instead of going, "No, I didn't," or instead of arguing about it and being like, "Well, I'm the mom," like it's really hard as a parent to listen to the pain that you caused your own child.
Kristen,
and unfortunately, not everybody's willing to listen at all.
Kristen, may I ask you a question? It's Andrea.
Sure.
If this is not too personal, because you were the oldest and you had to grow up fast, did you feel that you had a shortened maybe teenage life, if not childhood? In some way?
So I got my first job at the age of 10. I was actually I was paying taxes at 12. I moved out when I was 16. I got married at 17. I had a baby at 18. So I don't necessarily think that I had a childhood in the way that most people think about as a childhood.
Okay.
And at the same time, like my mom would tell me stories about how she grew up. She grew up, outside of the town. They had acres. She had a horse. I grew up in an area where I couldn't go to the park because there were needles in the sand and gangs owned the basketball courts. So when my mom would talk about her childhood, it was so remote to the way that I grew up that I can't even fathom what a traditional childhood would look like because I never had it. I see it on TV, but I never had that ever.
Okay. I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I never had it, but I also know that a lot of people grew up in worse ways than I did.
Yeah. And you're breaking that cycle, like you said, for your children.
It's hard. It is. It's hard.
Yeah.
I hope that I can.
It wasn't easy for me either, honey.
I hope that I can look back and have the peace that Nakia, I don't think I've heard you speak so many times now. And even though sometimes all I do is just listen and I don't participate, but you radiate a sense of peace when you speak.
It does. Yes, Nakia, you do.
Well, first of all, thank you, because I've worked hard for that. I went backwards 2 years ago, and that's why I'm working so hard to get back.
Good for you.
So I appreciate that y'all recognize it, because I was in a dark place. I was in a really, really dark place after he was murdered, like really, really dark place.
Yeah.
And I was that child being the parent when it came to him.
Yeah.
And just luckily, before, like few months before it happened, I no longer had to be the parent. We wasn't arguing. We wasn't, and it wasn't bad arguing. It was like, dang, Dad, dang, Jimmy, will you be the dad? Like, it got to the point where I didn't even call him dad anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude. And it was actually turning around. So I think that's why it took a toll on, well, it was many reasons. I had to actually make the decision to, let him go. So it just took me into a spin. But I say all that to say is I've worked hard to get to this point of peace again.
And he would be proud of you. You were in a sweet spot with him when he passed, and
Yeah.
now
Oh yeah.
that
Oh
sweet
yeah.
spot now.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
I mean, because he's always been around. He wasn't
Sweet.
taught how to be a dad.
And you got to that point where I feel that sweet spot with my dad right now. Like, he's a bit vulnerable, and I'm able to help him in a way that I couldn't have. Like, I've set some time aside to make sure that my parents are okay, and because I know in the next 5 years something could happen. So I want to make sure that we spend the time where we can play cards together, where we can, if they're a bit confused, I'm there for them. It's an honor to do that for your parent.
And that's what I like. The fact that as long as it's not tearing you up, to let it continue that way.
Yeah,
because you know how your parents are, whether it's good or bad. I feel like that's okay. It's when it gets to a point where you just like, this is nonsense, but you steady taking them jabs.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Oh.
No, I get text notifications from Kempire, and I just got one.
Oh.
I literally just got it. Huh?
What is it?
It says, breaking news, Wendy Williams will not be returning. Guess her replacement. And then it has like something in the community tab. But when I go to open it, StreamYard closes, so I can't see it.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Poor Wendy, she is really, wow. It's gone dark for her.
She has
but if she
the opposite.
leave on her own, that's one up for Giselle. I hope she is not leaving on her own.
Wendy Williams?
Wendy
Williams.
I thought you was talking about Real Housewives.
Oh no, Wendy Williams is not returning.
Well, I knew she wasn't gonna return. I don't even know why she was trying to act like she was.
Yeah.
She needs to take a break, a mental break.
Yes. And not just like she needs a good 10-year break. Like, she needs
some self-healing.
Yeah, she does. She needs
she has so I have Hashimoto's, and she has Graves' disease, which is the flip of what I have. So like seeing all the stuff that she's had to go through, like, and I literally just look at it and I'm like, oh my God, it's so, I just empathize with so much and sympathize so much with everything that she goes through. And it's so hard to even sometimes like watch the show where I can tell that she's in an active phase just based off of like how she sits even. And it's just, it's so hard to watch it and see somebody who's, that they're trying to be well and they're not. So it's hard to, I just hope that she gets the care, the medical care that she really needs so that she can be well. Hey, you're back, beautiful.
Hey, yeah, my phone had some issues, but I've still been listening.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cutting back into Wendy. Wendy, she is a big lesson for all of us. Like, when I look at celebrities and what you want to do, she's a hard lesson. She's had a hard life, and physically and mentally she's in a soft space right now, and I'm glad that she has some, obviously she's had people that are protecting her, that are not letting her profile be out right now, because that means it's pretty serious to me. Usually when it's half serious is when she'd step out of a car and first time she didn't have her high heels on and stuff like that.
but you're seeing nothing now. It's gone dark. So it's serious time for her.
But doesn't that make you almost like worried though? Because I mean, I look at like celebrities that we've all kind of seen struggle and to deal with the things in their lives that have happened, and I worry about how that affects them. The pressure of being a public figure must be so tremendous. I would never want that ever. So I hope that Wendy Williams comes out the other side and we all give her a standing ovation for her strength, as opposed to what everybody is worried about, which is, like a Kate Spade, Robin Williams kind of situation.
Right. That's why I'm
or
a
maybe
big
I'm
proponent
the
of.
only one who worries about that. I'm sorry.
Nah, you're not. Like, that's why I'm a big proponent, supporter, advocate for give people their flowers while they're here.
Yeah.
Because you never know what somebody else is going through unless they tell you. Sometimes, even if they do tell you, you don't even understand the gravity of it. But that's why you should be appreciative and loving and understanding and not make excuses necessarily for why people are the way that they are because of what they're going through, but give them a little bit of grace when you can, as long as it's healthy for you, and let them know, like,
that's really,
especially if it's somebody close to you, like, you've had your shitty moments, you've done things to me that have hurt me, but at the end of the day, I do know that you love me. I appreciate A, B, and C that you did for me, and I thank you and I honor you for that.
I wish that you guys lived near me so we could like all go to lunch and like be like real friends, so I could be like, my days suck, let's go have brunch, like,
for 5
With
hours.
our
wish you
little
guys-
ghetto ass charcuterie boards with the little smokies and the cheese cube from Walmart and the little pieces of salami from the Lunchables and some good old wine and some hooch and some moonshine. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
as soon as I move to Puerto Rico, that's a date. I'm telling you, it does not cost that much to travel to Puerto Rico.
Oh,
Don't get my hopes up.
hey, I
No, I'm
work with
serious. We're
airlines.
moving there in July.
Don't ever invite an
Really?
airline person.
That's
Congratulations,
amazing.
dude.
That's amazing. The only move I have on my horizon is me telling my husband I refuse to move back to Texas.
Oh.
That's the only move I got.
Go off,
Well,
Meredith.
what'd you say, Jordan?
I was just saying, go off, Meredith. Talk about, I'm not moving to Ohio. I'm not moving to Mississippi. I'm not moving to Colorado. I'm not moving to.
I would
Sorry,
go
that
to
was a Salt
Colorado,
Lake
but
City.
I don't think I would go to Ohio, and I definitely don't want to move back to Texas. Not unless Big Bird wins against Ted Cruz, and then I'll move.
Oh,
I'm dead.
I was the only one who looked at him like that. The first time I saw him, I was like, this Big Bird looking motherfucker make a lot of good points.
Did you not see Big Bird on Twitter? There's like a parody thing. Big Bird is running for Senate against Ted Cruz.
really?
And the other Muppets are his like campaign staff.
No,
like his political director is Elmo. He's got Elmo, Cookie Monster, oh my gosh, my head's going blank. It's like the whole Muppet gang, and they're all part of the political action committee to beat Ted Cruz.
Somebody needs to. I would take Oscar the Grouch's sardine can.
He's part of it.
Over Ted Cruz.
He's part of it. Yeah. Oscar Grouch is part of the team.
A fun fact: Ted Cruz was born in what country?
Canada.
Canada.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. He was born in Canada, and his parents were Cuban refugees.
Yeah.
Or his father was a Cuban refugee, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe his mother was an American.
Yes, yeah.
So that's how he was able to immigrate and have automatic American citizenship.
And where he was born in Calgary is basically the Texas of Canada. So it was just like a direct link. down from Alberta right down to Texas. So it was meant to be in Texas.
People like that irk me, but I also feel sorry for them because it's like, what level of self-hatred must you have that you've come from the background that you've come from and you do the shit that you do?
Joanna, I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it better. High compliment. He is the worst of the worst. Truly.
You know, there's a lot of people in the US that are families being torn apart because of that stuff. It's a lot of pain to go around, and it's gonna last for so many years of people torn apart because of stuff like that. It's really
the worst.
It's tragic. It's just, there's no other word for it. It's just tragic, you know. It's just to see so many people, you know, and so many families destroyed because of ideology, you know, that isn't even real.
Yeah.
Especially because the people they follow don't even believe in the shit. It's like,
it's a lie.
So all of you homegrown, good old Christian evangelists that rail against all of these things are now hailed the conquering heroing to this man who believes in none of the things that you claim to believe in, like, which shows that's not really what you care about. That's not your point. That's not what you actually believe in. That's just the cover for you to be racist as fuck and misogynistic as fuck.
Yeah.
And for you to hold on to the power that you have by any means necessary, which also lets you know that you have power. You just don't want nobody else to have it.
Yes. Joanna, best said.
They don't call her Vi for nothing.
Period. And kind of getting on that note, getting back to the subject of self-love, kind of, because if Ted Cruz had some, he wouldn't be a piece of shit. Discovering yourself, to me, is a huge form of self-love too, because it helped. The more you know yourself.
Really quick, Joanna, really quick. I hate to cut you off, but I'm going to jump right back to you. I'm going to do this because I have enjoyed listening to all of you. However, I have not commented because the subjects at hand have been very triggering for me personally. So I have kind of just left it alone and then let you guys kind of have that moment so I can go back and watch it later and maybe talk myself through it. But I'm going to close because one, my headphones are dying, and two, I am also doing a lot of things, so I don't want to just leave you guys for infinite amount of time as usual, or as I have done. But I do want to start with Joanna, and if you could give me, all the people on the panel, and all of the people watching an affirmation to take into their daily life, and I want each of us to give a positive note or an affirmation to take into our next day, or things just to think about when we're succumbing to our negativity, so that we can have at least 4 different viewpoints of ways to combat that. And I want to start with you because you give me all the affirmations, so I think you're the best place to start with that.
Some that I say, the main ones that I literally, as soon as I open my eyes in the morning and before I go to sleep, and sometimes throughout the day, because days can be hell when you're trying to heal. I am happy. I am healthy. I am whole. I am healed. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am loved.
Well, hell.
Daily.
How do
it's
we
some more in
that?
there, but those is all right. And the more you say it, you will trick yourself into believing everything that you say, because your subconscious will start to absorb that. and you'll start to feel that from the inside out.
So true. I'm living that now.
Yes.
That's gonna be a hard act for y'all to follow, but
Yes,
Nakai, you up next.
but
Give it to him, sis.
Basically what Joanna said, what I'll say adding to that, that's what's helping me now. Is when soon as I open up my eyes, minds change because I'm on this. I say 5 things that I'm grateful for, whether it's life, love, it can even be food. And then I say 5 things that I am going to achieve and is grateful for. I say that every day. That actually got
100%.
me off of my medication doing that. So mine's change. I can't. There's no way I can follow Joanna the way the way she laid it out, because she pretty much said what I normally say, but I'll change it up some. But I will say this: she hit it, because the more I said it, the less pills I took. And I'll end with that.
Mic drop.
That's amazing. Yeah. Mic drop. Head out. What's up with you, Andrea? How you feeling, love?
I'm feeling wonderful. And the 5 things I'm grateful for are Joanna, Jordan, Nakia, Christian, and myself for self love. And
Oh,
you all beautiful women. I've met 4 great friends this evening. And I woke up this morning never thinking that I would do that. And I'm glad today that I have. So thank you, ladies.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you. We're here for you, girl. We got you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I got you too.
Real talk. I love that.
Me too.
Kristen, bring us home, girl.
I am going to say that the self-care, I mean, obviously you guys know how I feel about boundaries, but also is find your tribe. And if you can't find one, then create one. Find the people that, create the space that you want for the people that matter to you. Loved ones don't have to be the family that you were born into. It can be the people that lift you up. You know, I don't I haven't met any of you in person, but I text with Jordan and I can send DMs and comment back and forth on YouTube or Twitter or whatever, and creating a tribe of my own and finding all of you so that we come together as a community to move beyond what has happened in our lives so that we can find the positivity and the light. I think that is something that, as long as we just focus on that, as long as we focus on keeping the people around us that lift us up, and then at the same time, once we have been lifted, we can reach down and lift up someone else who needs it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's mine.
I love that.
I
And
love
it's
that.
true. Jordan.
I would say I want to close with be the person to yourself that you want other people to be to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as you give yourself the love that you expect or desire from other people, then you'll never go wrong in the way that you approach others. It's that whole doing unto others as you want them to do unto you. I'm trying to go back into a more positive space because I used to just be like, Child, I'll do unto you as you've done to me, and then we'll see how the hell we work that shit out later." But I think that as long as you are giving yourself the love that you want from other people, then you'll always be at least half full. So project from the inside out.
Wow. Great
That's about
advice.
There
it
you
for me.
go. That was a great ending.
It is.
Thank you.
Have a
I do what
lovely
I can, child. You know, I'm just holding
Okay.
on by the thread of my wig. I'm
Time
just
for
holding
bed.
on by the lace of my wig, child. Doing what I can out here in these streets.
I got some
But
pieces for you.
in the child, right.
Good night, everybody.
But with that being said, this has been an amazing round of conversation. I love that once again we start one place, we go literally all over the world, and clock your references, children, and then bring it back home. So
You ladies are
I
lovely.
am
I
glad
hope you
that I
know
have.
that.
And you
Well,
as
thank
well.
you. You too.
Same.
Yes,
And
I
I'm gonna
know.
let you close, Jordan. However, I just feel like I need to say thank you, boo.
Mm-hmm.
This space that you have cultivated to create what you felt like you didn't have and what you feel like you didn't see is so much more amazing than you realize. You are helping and touching so many people who will help and touch so many other people who will help and touch so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the legacy, the humongous legacy that you have created already in such a short amount of time by being your authentic self and allowing others to be their authentic selves and creating a safe space for people to express themselves and hear other opinions and hear other people who've gone through things and help us help each other heal is monumental as fuck with your wide body ass. I love you and I thank you.
Ah, damn it, man.
Now you got to come on camera
Listen,
and do
I've
your
made it.
shimmy. I mean, do your
Do
slither.
you?
If I was not outside in the dark, standing around a campfire, that's right on to the apocalypse. However, this is what y'all getting right now. So y'all don't
Okay.
want to
That's
see the
okay.
inside of my nostrils for the next 3 minutes. So look at Lena Waithe's gorgeous face and just imagine how I want to look. Now, with that being
Lena
said,
Waithe with the
thank you
triangle.
all. That means a lot to me. I appreciate all of you for contributing to said space because you know what I'm saying? Like I always say like I'm just the person that made the damn channel. Y'all are the ones that make it what it is because I curate a safe space for conversation about personal experience. And if there's nobody else but me sharing their personal experience, then there is no channel. So, with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys because the vulnerability that you continue to exude, I really hope I didn't break that. But the vulnerability that you guys continue to exude um, is inspiring and it helps me through shit, even if I don't talk about it. So, I appreciate all of you. And with that being said, I'm gonna go find the rest of my wide body ass and make it wider. So
And play
I love all of you.
play your theme song so I can dance
Yeah.
off.
You know,
I can
it
dance
is
off
what it is.
camera off the
Yes.
screen.
Hold on, wait. If you guys want a theme song, I'll get you one. Hold on. Wait a second.
Oh my.
Give me a second. Hold on.
The dogs.
She's
Yes,
into dogs.
Well, I hear woofing.
I'm excited now. I love that for you.
Okay.
I love that for you. I love that. Yeah, back when we believed Lizzo. Anyway, with that being said, I love every single. We'll talk about that later. But
Okay.
I will holler at y'all later. I'm finna go do some freak nasty hoe shit, and I
That's
love you
fine,
all.
girl.
Be safe. Be the best at whatever it is y'all are gonna do tonight. Because at this point, there's nothing open but legs and possibilities. So love
You
you
guys,
all.
if I don't talk to you guys, happy Thanksgiving in the US. For you who celebrate and you who take the day off at least. I hope you have at least time with your families and loved ones. That's all I ask. However you
Thank
do
you, love.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you, boo.
Thank you, love.
You're
And with
welcome.
that, happy holidays. Celebrate. Get drunk. Don't get too drunk. Drive responsibly. Drink responsibly. Be good people, and treat yourselves like you love yourself.
Yeah.
All
Amen.
that.
All that.
And with that, why body ass out? Bye, baby
Bye.
gorgeous. I love every single one of you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Behave
boo.
yourself and do some things that I would only do twice on camera. Love you. Bye.
Same.